Indeed. And greetings unto you, beloved and holy friend. Thank you dearly for joining me again, for sharing another moment, for trusting that you'll find something of value in this space today, for trusting me enough to be my friend, for trusting in yourself enough to show up. Today's stream topic is going to be about trust, specifically how without trust, it's possible for us to make friends, right? And that even though we might have friends, we might still have a hard time trusting them. And even if we trust them, they might not be our friends. That whole combination. Thank you for joining me again. We'll read something worth saying. The thing that came up in me to me instantaneously is we use our momentary consciousness to say we are this and not that. This, a moment consciousness, say I am this and you are that. Oh, I am streamer and you are viewer, right? Not realizing that without viewer and without streamer, there is nothing. There's nothing, right? Trusting enough in each other to believe that every single one of us is necessary. Yeah, in it. Thank you for joining me. I love you. Jovan. I don't think Jovan is here. Joy Vives, though. Shannon to Natalie. The girls have already turned the yoga space into play space. Everything transforms as needed. That it does. That it does. The thing I've been expected, at least for myself, to transform today is pain. I've been in a deep state of discomfort when it comes to my right foot. There's Jovan. Loazana's here too. So much love is being shared. And it's just been painful, right? Like I actually had a moment today where for 2 hours, I just couldn't step on it even. I was just laying down. And you know when you're like in pain and you feel like these almost like oscillations, waves of pain coming over you, go like, I feel it like running down my leg, reaching that sore foot. And I could just be with it. I could trust that it will pass and that this isn't going to be my reality for the rest of my life. And as I trusted, it became a little bit easier. The pain didn't get less, but my ability to handle it increased. And I feel like I want to trust in that part of myself. Trust in the part of myself that is capable of weathering pain, even when we don't necessarily want to trust, because trusting in and of itself generate the possibility for pain as well, right? You trust a person, hey Akursa, you trust a person with your heart, right? With your life, with your time, and they betray that trust. That's pretty hurtful. But if you don't trust at all, then you also don't have the opportunity to experience something loving. So, yeah, being strong enough to trust, knowing that even though you trust, you might get hurt, being strong enough to trust, knowing you're strong enough to weather any potential hurt. How about that? Every posture check this weekend is in honor of Chauvin. Posture check, yeah. Pump the chest out, keep the spine straight. Just check my posture. I have a bad migraine right now, and this pain makes me curl up into a ball. Louisiana, I'm so sorry to hear that, friend. Every single one of my words today will serve in the healing of your migraine. Every word will vibrate away a layer of pain. Every hopeful intention will generate a feeling of calm and serenity. I love you, dear friend. I hope you feel better soon. Just checked my posture. Natalie, thanks for the posture check. I also got posture check. Love you. It's Sunday. We have a Sangha later. Yoga's done. This feels like good fun as well. Tell me, friends, Have you been having a hard time trusting people? Has it been easier for you to trust people? For some reason, I've fallen back into difficulty in trusting people. And I don't know if it is a choice necessarily, as much as it's just, as I mentioned, a guarding, right? A guarding of my heart, of my hopes, of my dreams. The the truth, the statement, maybe it's just a statement, the statement that you become the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? And really thinking about that, almost thinking about that in the context of trust, to trust each other enough to want to be influenced by each other, right? That it's not possible for us to not be influenced by each other. So to trust that the people that we do allow into our lives, the people that we do trust will actually have our best wishes, our hopes, dreams, our way of interacting with the world in mind. You friends have shown me what it means to be a real friend, to celebrate someone instead of just tolerate someone. I felt like that was a big thing for me today, where I feel more tolerated sometimes at home than I do. I I don't think I am celebrated at all, but I feel if it was a spectrum, I'm way more on the being tolerated side of that spectrum when it comes to my family home. Unfortunately, with friends, with you friends, there is an air of celebrating one another, celebrating our differences, celebrating the way we see the world, celebrating our interpretation of life events, celebrating our successes. Thinking about Zana right now, her job, was that yesterday, day before yesterday? Us being able to celebrate her. I don't have that, right? I feel it kind of hurts me, the fact that, oh, a little spider is running on my leg. Hello, spider. Hello, little spider. You want to see what he looks like? He doesn't want to be on my hands. Okay. Tolerating, celebrating. Yeah. Trust. Lost my point. Spider took it with him. Sangha Sunday. I spend a lot of time with y'all. I'm so alright with melting into y'all. Same. Like seriously, Lois, thank you. Jovan, thank you for sharing that as a feeling. I couldn't agree more. It really is this trip almost, right? Like I hear these statements like you become the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And as soon as I read those words, I think to myself, ah, Jovan, Shannon, Joy Vive, Isaac, Corey, where's Joe Schmo right now? Right? Nova and Connor. You friends have become a part of me. You live in my brain, rent free, nonstop, all the time. Posture checking me, making sure I don't tell myself stories of deception, making sure I love myself. And you know why? Because I trust you, friends. I actually trust you. I trust you to want the best for me. And I feel that is something that's so rare, right? That even though we might have family members, we might have friends, they might not necessarily want the best for us because their interpretation of what is best for you might be different because of their interpretation of what is best for themselves, right? And every single one of us get to live a divine life of uniqueness, novelty, opportunity, experience, synchronicity, serendipity, And that it's sometimes hard to trust that people want these things for you, right? Something that's been very present to me, at least with my family, was this point that was communicated to me that I am a narcissist, right? And my way of showing up every day is narcissistic. And my encouraging others to show up every day for something is also narcissistic, not loving, right? And I take these things to heart when people say them to me. I listen because that's the last thing that I want. And yet, even if you try everything in your power to create something, people will still find a reason to break it down, to break you down, right? And then it comes back to this question: do you trust the people that break you down? Do you? Do you want to continue trusting their negativity, their lack of ambition, their lack of enthusiasm for the future, their hope in the fellow man, fellow woman, fellow they? I don't want to, right? So even though I do believe it's very important for us to become more trusting, to find reasons to trust each other more, I also want you to trust people that don't have your best intentions at heart less. Listen to them. Listen to them lovingly. Accept completely that they might want to try and share something with you from a place of love, but don't necessarily trust what they say, right? And this is, of course, something that you have to apply in your own life and find truth within that. I don't know what your experience is, but I find that the people I love the most, my family, are the people that I tend to trust the most as well. And unfortunately, my family does not see what I see. They do not see the ambitions I have, the hopes I have for the future. Some ants. Some ants are trying to carry this worm away. Look at this dude pulling on that worm. Right. That ant trusts in its own ability to be strong enough to carry said worm. It's a hard one. It's a really hard one that I'm thinking about right now. Because if we don't have trust, at the same time, almost everything else falls apart with it, right? So it's this deep question of how do we trust? How do we make the system trustless, almost, to think of it in a way, right? How can we make the system a little bit more trustless? Trustless not from a perspective of not having to trust each other, but trustless from a perspective of trust is something that has to be called into consideration. Is consideration the right word? I feel so, maybe. Right? You should trust to the point. Hey, Ash and Nasky, thank you for the updates. Moonchild, it's nice seeing you too. You should trust at the point where not trusting should be the thing you don't trust in. At least that's what I hope for with us and friends. Likewise, the space has become home. All you friends are so very much a part of my everyday life. Same. STN, you are no narcissist. I don't even want to believe you. I don't even want to believe you. Thank you, Lausanne, for saying that. But I feel that is the way I am being interpreted, right? So what am I to do if this is the interpretation? How much more am I supposed to do? Because doing it every day doesn't seem to be enough. doing that every day, doing yoga every day, making art every day. Narcissistic, right? And then I ask seriously from a place of deep curiosity, what am I supposed to do, Dad? What do you want me to do for me to not be a narcissist in your worldview? And then there are these communications of acceptance, which I understand, communications of letting things go, which I understand, communication of letting things be, contentedness, I guess. Uh, laying down, really, right? And then it creates this weird part of myself where it feels like if I do any of those things, I'm not trusting in myself, right? I'm not trusting in the things that I see every day. I'm not trusting in my intuition to say something about it. And it becomes this weird, almost like game of comfort, where my willingness to pursue discomfort in different parts of my life, and then my encouraging others to pursue some level of discomfort in their own lives as well, is seen as narcissistic because I believe there is value. I know from a deep intrinsic place that there is value in pursuing the hard things. And I encourage that. And I encourage it from a perspective of the results I've seen in my own life, because I cannot give you the results of someone else's life. I don't know their life. I don't know what they've been through. I don't know the steps they had to take to be where they are right now. But I at least know my own steps. I get to recognize how taking these steps change my life, change your lives. You friends have changed my life in the same way by taking steps in your life, right? Showing up, actually showing up for the things we believe in. That is, in my opinion, the one thing you can trust. You can trust that if you show up for love, you will find some perspective from your judgments. Perspectives from judgment are always limited. Yeah. And yeah, I still take these things to heart. I'm sensitive, right? Like, unfortunately, I don't stop, right? The fact that I'm showing up every single day for stream is a smaller fractal of the way that things work in my brain, where it's this perpetual over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And whatever happens in my outside environment, whatever is said to me, whatever I see, whatever I eat, whatever I choose to do with my time becomes a part of that loop that I'm putting myself in, right? That thought process, that pattern. And I trust my loved ones so much that I believe they will only say things that are true. So I consider. But there's only that much I can do. All right? I can consider. I can show up for the changes I've already made in my life. I can change my life, showing up in the way I know I'm supposed to show up in. But I can't convince other people to see what I'm seeing. I cannot force them to see me. I cannot trust them to know who I am, because I don't even know who I am, right? Not really. Sure, I know the body I identify as, can point to myself in the mirror on a photo and be like, that's me. But I have experienced a lot just in the limited few years I've been alive in. And throughout this experience, I've been multiple different people. I've been emo depressive, emo atheistic depressive that took pride, took certain sense of joy from communicating the truth of death to people. To be like, oh yeah, you think you're clever? You're gonna die one day. You're gonna get turned to worms. Oh, everything you've ever worked on will become desolate wasteland. Everything you've ever shown up for will melt into the infinity once again. Think you're special? You're not special. All right, that's the way I used to be. And then I came into contact with the plant medicines. And plant medicine taught me that actually, sure, all of these things you believe is true, but also that's only half of the truth, right? That yes, death is one of the truths we face in this life, but life is as well, right? Love, sure, fear, sure, hatred, sure, degeneration exists. And yet, the thing I'm going to try and choose to focus on is love, because the thing I focus on becomes me, becomes my experience, becomes the things I interpret as something to trust, right? And then it transitioned where I realized that if I can share anything with people, the only thing worthy of being shared is love. Unfortunately, at that point in my life, I shared most of that love with myself. So I exercised. I dieted. I loved myself a lot. Took a bunch of shirtless photos. And I'm not ashamed. It was who I was at that point in my life. And then, I kept stepping deeper and deeper into the plant medicine, and I let go of my body. I gained an absurd amount of weight, even became very overweight, because I kind of flip-flopped to the other side too hard and thinking that, yeah, body is just another thing. It's another thing worm. Body is just another thing, right? It's an attachment. It's a small part of who I actually am, the fullness of who I actually am. Spent most of my time with friends during that time of my life. So much time with friends. And then moved to China, got even more overweight, fell deeply into the fractal of ordering food in, staying in my apartment, brain damaging / numbing myself with content. Right? I didn't have friends in that space. There were people that spoke my language, my colleagues, but they also really enjoy drinking. And that in general hasn't been something that I like to participate in. Not binge drinking. Binge drinking is just not a vibe to me, right? Talking on Mondays how much money you spent this weekend on alcohol isn't a fun conversation to me. I don't like spending money. I'm done. Thank you for joining me. The question of narcissism, thinking about how I showed up in the world, what I chose to do, who I chose to be. And I knew something had to change. And I started streaming on Reddit. And I realized how much depth and love there was in showing up with other people. And from an ego perspective, I decided I was going to do that every day, right? At least for the first year. I made a decision that this thing that I enjoy, talking to people, I'm gonna do it every day, no matter what. Right? This is important to me. This is something I can trust to be good, something I can trust to serve my life. And showing up in that way has changed me multiple times over. I might have been narcissistic at one point in my life, but I believe that Melt More is an active reminder to let go of that part of myself, to let it melt away. Are you in a national park? No, I'm home in South Africa, friend. I live on a farm in the middle of nowhere. Thank you for asking. So I think about these things. I consider my life, I compare, right? But unfortunately, so do other people. And the reason I shared this whole little fractal is in this context of knowing yourself, right? At every point of my existence, at every fractal of my showing up in the world, I believed I knew who I was, right? Yeah, I'm gonna become a fitness influencer when I start exercising. Yeah, I'm gonna influence people so fitnessly. Um, so much cringe. So much cringe, but I believed it. I believed that's who I was because that was the story I was telling myself. That's what I trusted. That's what I trusted at that point of my life. I trusted during the atheist time of my life that I was right then as well. I'm trusting that I know what's going on right now. Oh, you got 69 likes. Nice. I don't want to like you because 69 looks great. It's okay, done. You don't have to update me at all. Just your presence is making this space worthy, right? I would rather have one I'm done than 5,000 likes, right? Because I can have all of the likes in the world, but I'll never be able to buy a I'm done with all of those likes. Thank you for joining me, friend. Estian, if anyone who truly knows you sees you as a narcissist, they are mistaken about the legit meaning of a narcissist. Thank you, Heather. It's nice seeing you here, friend. If anything, the thing I'm holding on to in my mind right now is how I can take negative criticism and make myself stronger with it. Right? I'm not going to be made less for being believed to be a narcissist. No. I can only. Oh, goodness! Oh, my goodness. Thank goodness nothing broke. That like made my heart stop for a second. The sensitive stuff. Goodness. Oh, thank you, universe. Oh, thank you for not breaking my things. Gravity, you powerful mistress, you always dragging me down, stepping on me. I'm becoming a fan. Thank you for becoming a fan. Just saying, insecurities are easy to capitalize on. Self-love is the opposite of weak. Taking care of oneself is not narcissistic. Who else is supposed to take care of me? That's the question I ask when someone says that to me as well. Right? I get called a narcissist, and then I'm like, okay, why am I a narcissist? And then there's like this list of reasons given. Oh, you believe what you do is important, and that's the way it should be done, right? You believe that your way of doing things are better, right? And then I watch the ones I love the most, my family, not take care of their bodies, not show up for dreams, not show up for something, right? And then I am 100% neurotic. That's a part of my makeup, it seems. I'm not going to stop talking, stop encouraging, just because you don't want to be encouraged, right? Like the sun isn't gonna stop shining because you're getting sunburned. No, the sun is just generating gigachad levels of energy. So yeah, I'm done apologizing, and then adds another tick to narcissist. My father doesn't get me either. It's been an almost endless source of hurt. The only thing that have helped are time and distance, believing in myself and keeping a cordial but semi-detached relationship with him. I don't want that, Loizana. I don't consider myself separate to anyone, right? And I know the depth, the beauty of love two individuals that actually care about each other can have with one another. If there is a letting go of the expectations of how you're supposed to be, if there's just an embracing of the person as they are. But I cannot trust that that will happen. At least if I take all of my experiences and compare. I harbor the familiar negatives. I don't know what that means, Hoopy, but I see you, meow meow. Thanks for joining us, old groove. Sorry, I don't mean to tell anyone else what to think, but 100%, you don't meet the criteria for being a narcissist. Sadly, narcissist has become a buzzword. Yeah, just another one of those, pieces of shit we throw at each other to be like, yeah, you're evil. Sure, all of these things you're trying to do, but you love yourself so much, you're evil, right? You love yourself more than you love other people or something. Narcissist. You love your job more than you love this thing. Narcissist. It's a nice little finger to point, I guess. Maulao, hey, Maxine. I love you, friend. Nice to have you here with me. How are you doing, friend? I can see my fighty child blurting, oh yeah? You're gonna die one day to one of my rude family members at a picnic. Yeah, I like that one, right? I like considering death. I feel like that's one of the weird parts of my personality as well. Like I like thinking about death. I don't know if that's morbid. I don't know if it's suicidal ideation. I don't know if it's beautifully said in Toasty's words, passive longing for death. I don't think it's any of those things as much as it is just curiosity, to be completely honest, right? Curiosity and seeing how people react to considering their own death, curiosity to considering my own death, curiosity to what happens after we die. Love my joint.
I want you just to stop lying to your people.
Uh huh.
Mm?
How am I lying to them? You can
Your
join me.
family, your
Sit
family
down
is
with
not
me.
showing up for nothing. Who puts boarding on you on your table, boarding and food on your table
Join me.
every day?
Join me.
Now we're not showing up for nothing.
Join me, Opa.
That's a lie.
Join me on Protons. Then we can have a conversation.
Now we can have a conversation, Easton, but if the people
The,
listening to you wants to believe that we're not showing up for nothing, we don't care, yet we're putting boarding and food on your table every
it's
day.
not what I'm saying, Opa.
That's what you're saying.
I said
We don't
the
show up for nothing.
dreams. It was supposed to dream, Opa.
I've got a lot of dreams, Easton. I'm following them.
No, share them with me. This is the kind of relationship we have. Man, it runs away. Doesn't want to talk. Doesn't want to have a decent conversation. Your dad, yeah. Doesn't want to have a decent conversation with me. No. No. I'm going to keep inviting him for the rest of the stream. Let's see if he'll actually join us. I understand. Yeah. Let's see here. I share my anger and outrage over injustices. Yeah. I I believe we're supposed to, right? And I wasn't. At least do tell me if I'm incorrect here. Is my dad right? Was I sharing that my family isn't showing up for anything ever, or was I very particular about right having a vision for yourself for your future? I don't see any vision. My dad says he has dreams, but he doesn't tell me these dreams, right? And then I think to myself, Does he not tell me these dreams from a place of, and I notice this pattern within myself where I sometimes feel resistant in telling you, friends, my hopes and aspirations, because if I don't succeed, then it makes me feel like I'm a failure, right? So is that what's happening? Papa, kom sit saam met my in stream. Shakes his head. Nou kom, vertel die waarheid, papa. He says, he's not interested in lies. And I'm like, then come and tell the truth. And then he's like, no. I'm gonna keep inviting him. I'm trying to, I'm done. I'm trying to. He will not. He will not. He would rather point fingers and be like, than actually, try and have a proper discourse. That shakes you guys sofa. My wisdom teacher's words are become love, reach out. I'm reaching, Maula. You should let him see, you should see him without a shirt. Please, he said, I'm doing okay. Trying to wake myself up and get myself to dye my hair. But the process is so long. You're going to do the whole henna hair dyeing again. Stephanie's here as well. I get out of bed to jump right into yoga today. Natalie, you did well, friend. What color? If you could have a pampered day, Maxine. I'm doing all right. Been all in my class and learning these flowers. I love it. Thank you for showing up for that, Shan. Self-love is considered to be on the scale for narcissism, and self-love needs to come first. Some views that is negative. Yeah, some really do. Right, and then it is this perpetual question of, I have gotten to this point of having to love myself because I don't feel loved adequately in my life, right? It really is that simple. I've had to cope. I've had to develop certain ways of staying alive, keeping my sanity. Not from a perspective of I want to do these things, but from a perspective of this is how I'm surviving, right? That we're all just trying to survive this thing we call life. Wil my kom join, pa? Okay. So by die kartlag was dit, kom join my. Kom vertel die waarheid dan, pa. Wat se leuns ek vertel? Yeah, you're lying to them. I'm like, then come and tell the truth. I'll come and tell the truth when you stop telling lies. I'm like, what lies am I telling? Because he's standing there, right? He's standing in an earshot while I'm saying all of these things. So I'm not lying. I'm just saying these things knowing full well he can hear every word I'm saying. This whole stream, he's been standing there. This whole stream, knowing. I know that he's listening to me. That's why we dove into the whole narcissism thing today. Because that's what's believed about me. Have you read Ashtakara Gita? I haven't, actually, friend. I haven't read much of the Gitas at all, to be completely honest. Narcissists don't question whether or not they're wrong. They're always right. Yeah. And I know I'm not always right. I know this. But I do believe I'm right about some things, right? I'm right about the things that have been proven into death. Like, it's been proven so many times. You know about Gita? Of course, dude. Of course. I do know about the Gitas, but most of my knowledge is just like secondhand, to say it in that way. Like, other people have spent the time to really dive deep, and then I learn from them instead of learning directly from the source. What a trip. This life thing, huh? Trusting. You know what's happening right now? I'm again trusting. I'm trusting that my dad has the character to tell me the truth. And then he's saying I'm lying, right? Yeah, all of the things you're talking about, just lies. I'm just lying to you, friends, right? Never mind the fact that this whole time I've been sharing a personal anecdote of how I feel about what I am seeing. No lies. My experience lies. Oh, self-worth, positive self-image, and a backbone do not make someone a narcissist. Exactly. Melty, I would have to agree with that when I was your age. But after so many years, I had to learn to stop trying to be acceptable to him and just be myself. Only share parts of my life with him. I, I'm noticing that that's going to be expected of me too, friend. It really hurts me, right? That the people that you feel you should have the most trust in, literally the most trusted in your whole life, cannot be trusted with your depth, cannot be trusted with your heart, cannot be trusted with all aspects of who you are, right? And hiding parts of who we are from each other, in my opinion, makes it that it's impossible for you ever to be people. Like there's a fractal, right? You are a fractal as a person, that other person is a fractal as their own. You two coming together to have a conversation generates a new fractal. And when you are unable to bring parts of the fractal that you are into an experience, the fractal that is created between you two is going to be incomplete. It's going to be lacking. There's going to be a sense of something is not wrong, something's off, something is not true. This experience isn't as loving as it could be. And that bothers me. I have lived with narcissistic individuals before. 0 out of 10 do not recommend. Man, I hope he can set his preconceptions aside in order to express his ideas. Yeah, that's a good word to be aware of. Preconceptions, preconceived notions is a nice one to be attached to that as well. I respect his point of view and his truth. Is it possible your father is living his dream, Estienne? But it's difficult for you to understand because it's not your dream. So you're saying he doesn't have dreams is offensive to him. I can see that as well, Heather. But when I say the word dreams, right, I think of it from this perspective of bringing real social change. That we're past the point where the only thing that matters is just ourselves. That we have to try and figure out a way of showing up in the world where we can actually help others. Right? That's one of my dreams, is to build something that can help others, build something that can make the world a better place, leave it a better place than I found it. Maybe it's just the scale of dreams we have, that's confusing me. I think you might be right, Heather. We all have different dreams, and there's nothing wrong with that either. Yeah, Melty, I'm doing the henna. Fox Red, there we go. Stephanie says, Melt, lots of love for you for overcoming barriers and adversity to be here every day and loving all of us. Thank you, friend. Thank you. Like, if I had to do this for myself, why would I? Right? I don't even go as far as to, be willing to brush my teeth every day if there's nothing calling me. Why would I show up every single day for something, for friends, for myself? Dus ek wil dit vra, papa. Hoekom sal ek elke dag vir myself iets doen soos die? Ignores me. Like I seriously don't think I'm powerful enough. Like if this was just for me, I would have failed a long time ago. You friends give me strength. Seeing your names is like a power up, to say it in such a way, right? Seeing a friend that I haven't seen in a long time, double power up. We can't love all people in our family. I do love all people in my family is the problem, dude. With some we might have problems, but remember, it's not a bug, it's a feature. Family is like that. We're all in the same boat, dude. I know. And Ram Dass has a beautiful quote where he goes, if you ever consider yourself enlightened, spend a week with your family. All right? And I do understand that. And I feel that I am where I am for a reason. To learn how to be this message I'm trying to share, even when it's as difficult as it can be, literally hard moding every single day, most of the days at least. It's freaking hard. That was so freaking hard. What lies does he think you're telling us? I don't understand. I don't either, Lois. I really don't either. I feel that his dad is an example of one of the good Christians in the world. I respect that and his faith, the type of people that just give me hope. My dad is one of the good Christians in the world. I believe this too. Period. Nothing else needs to be said. Melty, if we agree with you and have the same views as you, who's lying to who then? It's the views like yeah, viewers like yeah, exactly. We're all collectively lying to each other, it seems. Will you believe him if he says he is living his dream? Or maybe there are larger dreams of his in his head, but he thinks too logical to believe they could ever come through. I wouldn't be surprised. It breaks my heart to even consider that. But it sounds like a possibility too. Natalie, I feel that this is the truth from out that his Christian viewpoint is very limited. When it comes to spiritual growth, it's a big gripe I've had of the institution for a long time. There he is, Joe Schmo, joining us too, saying good morning to my peers and siblings, to the healers and the lovers, to the teachers and to the lurkers, and to the students, to the trolls, and to the truth splitters. I love you. Love you, Joe. It's nice to have you here, dude. Sending you good vibes. I find Christian growth is only limited by influence on the individual. I absolutely see where you're coming from, Sam. Yeah. It's wild to think your dad created a copy of himself that is on the opposite end of the spectrum, yet still going towards the same thing love, God. Why do you feel that their path is the only path? Why do some feel that their path is the only path? Because in the Christian religion, that's kind of the way it's set up, right? It's the only acceptable truth. And if you don't accept it, you burn in hell forever. So it's almost like a feature built into the religion where you get to demonize others for not believing the same thing you do. You get to consider yourself separate, right? We use our momentary consciousness to tell ourselves, I am this and they are that. And religion helps. Helps a lot with the whole I am this and they are that. Melt, you're so strong to keep speaking your truth, knowing your dad is listening. I have so much love for your dad, for you, and admiration for your determination and strength. We see you, Mel. Thank you. Thank you, Shan. I just ceaselessly feel like I'm the odd man out, especially in my family. Again, like I'm being tolerated. I feel tolerated right now. All right. And you can consider toleration love, but damn, I wish we could live in a society where we celebrate each other more.
Yeah, long blowing. Because you're missing the whole point about Christianity again.
Mm-hmm.
It is not a question of if you don't do something, then God's not going to allow you nothing. That's not what it's about. It's about a free choice. And if you don't want to follow that free choice, it's still your choice.
Mm.
God's not going to force you into his presence. It's your choice.
Yeah.
It's like the prodigal son. Prodigal son decided to leave. And then amongst his friends, they had all these fancy ideas and schemes.
Yeah,
And they thought they knew everything about life until the wheels came off.
technically until the money ran out.
Yeah, and the wheels came off because then everybody left him. All his mates, all his friends left him because they saw what he was aspiring to was empty.
What he was aspiring to was just leisure.
Yeah, just his own, seeking his own pleasure and his own joy.
Yeah, exactly.
and it fell flat.
We're not doing that, Papa.
I'm not saying you're doing that.
Okay, but we're trying to draw parallels here, aren't we?
We're trying to draw parallels between prodigal sons, yes.
Okay,
what
so
we do.
in this context,
if you're a
am I the
prodigal
prodigal son?
Don't make everything about you, Estienne. Stop doing that. Life is not about you,
Why are you sharing this example?
because I'm sharing the example of what the gospel is about.
Okay.
And I'm talking about prodigal sons that moves away from God.
Mm.
Let me make the point about that. If you want to move away, the father never chased after him, but the father waited.
Yeah.
In patience and in love, he waited.
Mm.
That's what God does.
Okay.
He's not going to force you into his presence.
Mm.
He's done the work through his son on the cross when he died for the sins of the world.
Mm.
If you look at the pure gospel and it doesn't make sense, you're not thinking about that. That's why I've asked you as well before. If Christianity was true, would you believe in it? And your answer was no. So it's no longer an intellectual or it's an emotional thing.
Okay, and then when I
So-
have this
so-
conversation
so-
with you, Dad,
My same question to you was, if what you believe in is true, what I believe in it,
and then you said
it's
yes.
absolutely,
Yeah.
if it was the truth.
Okay.
But the mere fact that you say, if Christianity is the truth, you will not believe in it. Can you understand? It's no longer intellectual.
I hear what you're saying.
It's
Dad.
emotional.
But your whole religion is based on hearsay, right?
No, it's not.
People
No,
told you the
it's
things
not.
you believe
No,
right
it's
now,
not.
Dad.
Go and have a look at all the evidence, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. Follow the evidence. Don't take a lot of pills and stuff and then think you see stuff. Follow the evidence. See whether, first of all, Jesus did live. There is, even atheists don't disagree with that. Follow the fact that he was crucified. Even atheists don't agree with that. Some of them don't agree with the fact that he rose again.
Okay.
But there's ample. He appeared to more than 500 people that recorded it.
Mm.
Now, it is Christian theologians, it's secular guys as well that recorded it, seeing him after death. So the secular guys, you would ask me, why didn't they start believing? I don't know. I wasn't there. The fact that more than 500 people saw him and recorded it. Now, if that's not enough proof,
It's not
but
that.
no, it's evidence. You're right. It's not proof. It's evidence.
It's neither to me. And the point I keep trying to make,
That I get. That I get.
the point I keep making that is that even if all of those things are true, those things are in the past.
Well, everything's in the past system. What we just said 7 seconds ago is in the past.
Exactly. So what's important isn't the past. What's important isn't what I've said. What's important is what I'm saying. The message I'm trying to portray in this moment.
Yeah, this is all beautiful and nice and beautiful, okay? But you cannot say the past has no influence in what I am right now and has no influence in the future.
I'm saying the past doesn't
is what you
define
brought in.
us. The
Of
past,
course the past defines you.
no, it doesn't, Dad.
It forms you.
Dad, there are people probably in this stream who've gone through extreme trauma.
Yes,
Right?
and what did it teach them?
It taught them that they have the power to continue past those traumas, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
if you believe you're identified, you are limited, you are defined
Not
by
limited.
your past, then you're always going to tell yourself a story of your own limitation.
That I agree with.
But you're doing that, Dad.
How am I doing it?
The Christian story is one of limitation.
Christian story is one about salvation.
You're not, exactly, you're not
Yes.
capable of saving yourself.
Absolutely.
That's a
there you go.
limit.
How's that
By
a limit,
definition. Because
Okay.
in this world, Dad, instead of having a complete circular way of seeing yourself, that I make a mistake, I have to kind of like confront this mistake in myself. I have to ask myself if I want to continue making these mistakes. I have to forgive myself, and then I have to be better going forward. Now you're creating this external circular system where something outside of you has to forgive you. So you don't have to make realistic changes in your life because you always have this out that someone can forgive you. How many Christians ceaselessly sin and then they can like just wash themselves clean of it every Sunday?
No, that's wrong.
How many of them do it is what I'm asking.
Don't confuse humans with Christianity, Estienne. That's what I've asked you. Look at the teachings of Jesus, not the teachings of people around us.
Okay, so
Look at
Jesus came to be a person.
yes,
That's kind of like
he's
significant.
God that became a
Yeah, it's a
person.
very significant part of the
Yes.
Bible is the fact
Why
that he
did why
became
did he
a
have to?
person.
Why did he have to? Because we sin, Estienne. And God said that in sin it separates us from him.
Okay.
So if God says, go read 1 Corinthians 6:9, it says that there's a certain amount of guys, and that's basically all of us. That's not basically, it is all of us. That's not going to inherit the kingdom. Because we fall short. He's holy.
Yes.
He's holy. If you look at somebody that's transcended, that had to create everything that's around us, it is not just something that's funny. So the only way that God could counter what he said was to atone for our sins himself. That's why he became man. And that's why he had to intercede for us so that we can stand clean in front of the Father one day. It was an act of love because that's why he created us. God wants relationship and unionship with all of us, everyone. But in that, he also knew to give us the free choice to love. He knew that there was guys that's not going to choose him.
That I agree with in part.
It's
But
fine.
something I don't agree with is that we have to earn the kingdom of heaven.
Oh, no, you can't.
Here it
No,
is,
no, you
Dad.
can't.
Here it is.
You can't earn.
It's right in
No,
front
it's
of
not.
you.
It's not. With all this disease and all this plagues and all this.
God made
famine,
that. All of it.
No,
Give me all of it.
no.
Well, who made it?
So
If not God, who made
You
it?
think this is heaven?
Yes.
You think this is heaven?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, well, then that's not the heaven I want.
And I
promise you
can
that.
die right now and I'll continue to be in heaven,
Yeah, well,
Dad.
that's what you think is then.
I've seen it.
That's what. No, I know. When you want to go on psychedelic trips or to try and seek truth, and the truth is around you, you want to ignore that. If I have to go seek my truth, being intoxicated, I'll think, well, I'm seeking the truth in the wrong place. If I can't reason it out here in a normal state of mind, I don't want to be intoxicated and in a trip and whatever, and then see things and see spiders and snakes and flying elephants, and then from that I deduce my truth. I don't want to do that.
Dad,
But you choose to.
most of my streams are sober.
I know.
Right?
I'm not
So,
saying,
and then I'm articulating these ideas in a sober state of mind. And just
Yes.
something I want to add as well. Every single time I go through one of these psychedelic experiences, what is it painted by?
I don't know.
What do I come to you and say every single time? Do I come in, you're so wrong, you're so stupid? Or do I
No,
say,
that's what I'm
thank
saying.
you, Dad?
I'm not saying it's all bad, Easton, but I'm saying it's not all good as
What
well.
I'm, no, what I'm asking, Dad, is you're talking about finding truth,
Yeah.
right, in these psychedelics. Every single time I take psychedelics, one of the truths I find is extreme, deep gratitude for my parents.
That's beautiful.
How is that not a truth, Dad?
Is if you deduce all your truths just from that, Easton, then it
Dad,
is wrong.
I don't deduce all of my truths just from that. It's a way to reflect the truths that I've taken into my heart. And depending on what truths I take into my heart, the way I show up for those truths basically create patterns in my body, in my mind, in my way of living. And then when I take psychedelics, it opens my perception to the point where I can see these patterns for what they are, for how they influence me.
Yeah.
And then I find truth within that.
I'm sticking to the point is if I have to take substances to make me see truth,
But Dad, you
I'm doubting
do.
the fact that
You eat food. That's substances.
No, it's not the same, man.
You can consider
same.
the day-to-day life a psychedelic hallucination, Dad.
No, it's not the same. You surely you know it's not the same. Surely you guys on stream don't think it's the same to have a pie and to have LSD. I don't think you think it's the same
Not
thing.
the same. Of course
No,
it's
exactly.
not.
So don't try to make it out as the same.
What I'm saying is what convinces you, Dad, that this is not psychedelic?
This around us.
Yes. Like, look at that. Do you see what I'm seeing right now? That's a fractal exploding out of the ground.
That's a tree that God had made.
Yeah. And
The
how
way it
is
is
that
there.
not psychedelic to you?
No, it's not.
How is that not
It's
psychedelic?
amazingly beautiful. And
Yes.
it's complex and it's so many other things. It's not psychedelic.
I'll I'll accept your truth, Dad, but I don't accept that as my truth.
Ah,
Life is psychedelic, Dad. And I honestly believe, and this is the thing that I've noticed as well. Everything influences this psychedelic experience, right? If you share lovingly with your family, with your friends, the experience of the world becomes a better one. You can argue that the world didn't become a better place. There's no less, murders and rapes and, atrocities happening in the outside world. But in the environment you're creating, it is a better world, right? And it's the same thing for the food choices. It's the same thing for the things you choose to say to yourself in your own immediate environment as well. We're ceaselessly influencing and interacting with this infinite environment that we call our own. We're not separate from it. If
but
we,
it's not an infinite environment.
it is
What
that.
does infinity means?
It means it
It's
has
always,
no end.
but it's always been and it will always be. That's infinite.
Okay.
Hasn't always been.
How do you know that?
Science says it. Science proves it.
Okay. And
So
what came before this?
don't take my word for it. Take science word for
What
it.
came before this?
Nothing.
Okay. That's not possible.
You see, because you don't understand it. If science says there was a beginning, what began it? That's the question. That's the burning question.
You can consider
That
that
should be-
circular as well, Dad.
No, that's not circular. It's not circular. Because I know you're going to say, okay, who created God?
Mhm.
God is not created. God is eternal. That's the only thing that's eternal. Is God.
I believe that God is an awakening, right? Like it's
Can it-
awareness
it
opening
can-
its
it can-
eyes.
How can awareness create the universe?
Okay, Dad. So when you sleep, right,
Hmm?
the universe technically disappears to you. And then when you wake up the next morning,
No,
whomp, there it
no,
is.
No, the universe doesn't disappear. Stan.
That I'm making an
No,
analogy.
No, but it's a wrong analogy. You cannot say that if I close my eyes, then nothing is here.
Analogies can't be wrong, Dad.
No, it can. It can be wrong.
Yeah. The point I keep trying to make.
You have to answer the question.
Okay, what's the
Is-
question?
Is where did all this come from?
From love, in my opinion.
All this, where did love come from?
Love is the opportunity for multiplicity and unity to exist at the same time.
Matter, space, and time should exist at the same time. Otherwise, none of them could be.
Okay.
Matter, space, time. The only religion that says that's actually three religions. It's the Muslims, the Judeo-Christian, and the Christians. In the beginning, that's time, God created the heavens and the earth, space, matter, and time.
Okay. And then
It's
within,
the only way you can create what we see around us here.
so
Is
Dad,
if it comes into the existence at the same
if we're
time.
going to talk about science,
Mm.
there's dark matter out there. That the spins of our galaxies don't
No,
work
that's- no,
without
that's-
dark matter.
That's what they theorize.
No, Dad,
No,
it's not.
that's not
It's
proven.
math.
No, you know it's not proven.
It's math.
So don't try
It's
to make it as
proven
it's proven.
math,
No, it's not.
Dad.
No, it's
So let me explain to you how this is proven.
Mhm.
If you look at the spin of galaxies,
Mhm.
the closer you get to the massive gravitational point in the middle,
Mhm.
the quicker the arc is, right?
Do they all spin in the same direction?
They do, yeah.
No, they don't.
There's some of them that fly in opposite directions.
That just counters that argument.
Dad,
If everything span in the same direction, that may very well have been
you're
true.
not hearing what I'm saying.
But
You're
everything
not
is
letting
not.
me finish.
Mhm.
So what we found, if our current laws, if the only things that existed was space, matter, and time,
Mhm.
then those outskirt planets or outskirt stars would spin exponentially slower relatively to the center. What's found is not that. They kind of move in an arc where the ones on the outside rim start spinning faster
Okay, so
than the
what's your
ones on
point?
the inside. That is only possible if there's 5 times the mass that is unaccounted for, unseen.
Still,
That's
it
dark
It
matter.
had to be created, Estienne.
Okay, but we can't see it, Dad.
But okay, it's fine.
So what I'm
There's
saying,
a
that
lot of things we
the
can't
point I'm
see.
trying to make is that our current perceptions is based on these 3 dimensions:
Yeah, absolutely.
time, space, and matter. right?
Yeah.
But there, we know with mathematics, with the way that our universe interacts with itself, that there are things beyond our senses.
There is so much beyond our senses.
Yes.
Esther, and that's because we're trying to put God in a box.
Okay, but now we're getting back to
That's why.
infinity, Dad. That's the point I'm trying to make.
But this what we see wasn't always there, that we know. So then it's not infinite, Esther.
Okay, Dad, it doesn't have to be infinite. Infinity
you.
means to me, you are the center point.
No, but you're not.
But you are in my point of view, Dad.
No, in your point of
yes,
view you are.
exactly.
But if you in your point of view are, then you won't fall prey to aggression and to a host of other.
Of course I will.
No, you won't.
Of course I
If
will.
you are perfect,
I'm not calling myself perfect, Dad.
well, then you can't be God.
I'm not calling myself God from a perspective of being above everything else. These blades of grass is God just as much as I am.
No, there's not.
Okay, so again, that, and I ask you this all the time, and I would like you to answer, right? Where does God begin and we end?
Creator, created.
Okay, so again, and I started the stream of that actually as like a trust system, right? That if I don't trust myself enough to show up here, then there's no experience. If the person that's watching right now doesn't trust themselves enough to show up here, then there's no experience. But also, at the same time, I have to be aware that if both of us don't show up, trusting each other to create this experience, there's no experience. So if there is this God you're talking about, right? And there's creator and created, there is no experience.
Why do you say that?
If there's not both.
No, God didn't need us.
Why create us then?
Out of love.
Okay. So
you know,
love.
And there's a lot of things that I pull from Marvel. You know, this world we're living in is a mess. You know, this is why I said this can't be heaven. Look at, for us, around us now, it's beautiful, it's serene, and it is nice and everything. But look at the mess that's going on in the world. If you sit in the Ukraine right now, you're not going to say this is heaven. I promise you this. If you sit in a couple of thousands of other places right now in this world, you're not going to say this is heaven and it's so serene. Even if you sit in a state of stupor that you've taken 0.5 kilogram of whatever you want to take, you're still not going to believe that this is heaven, because it's not. We are in this world and we have to go through it. So you can believe, thanks. You can believe that everything is just the way it is, or you say, okay, well, there is more to life than just this. And if you want to call that faith, blind faith, I'm not into them. I'm not into blind faith. You've asked me the question before. Would I have been a Christian if I grew up in another faith in another piece of the world? It's a difficult question to answer, because I can't answer that straight off. But if I have to be honestly seeking the truth and follow the evidence, I have to make up my own conclusions. And if you're sincere enough to follow the evidence that Jesus lived, what he taught, was it unique? Is what he taught still what everybody in life teaches? You will see that his life, the way he lived, the way he died, and the way he rose again, is evidence. So you need to take that evidence, like in a court of law, you have to take that evidence and say, well, okay, I have to now take this evidence and I have to make up my mind, what do I take from this? And then that's where the choice comes in, Esther. You can say, well, okay, I'm going to take my intellectual power that I've been given.
My day-to-day evidence.
None of us has earned what the brain capacity that we have. And not all of us is the same. I can't run with Usain Bolt. I can't get into a ring with Tyson. There's a lot of things I can't do, even if I train 6 times a day. We've all got talents and we've all got capabilities, and we're supposed to do the best we can with what we received.
I agree.
So that's a free gift. And that's what's making the gospel so beautiful, because that's a free gift as well. But with a gift, if I give you something, I say, there's a free gift, and you don't accept it, do you have the gift?
I believe the gift is our lives, Dad. So
No,
the fact that all of us are
no.
living,
I'm talking about salvation, Isam.
we're
I'm talking
accepting
about
it.
eternal life. I'm not talking about life here. Life here, whether you believe or not, you will live your life.
You know what's one of my
And
favorite quotes,
there's
Dad?
people that's gonna have wonderful lives, and there's people that's gonna have trashy lives. But if you say, well, this is all there is, that's grimmer.
One of my favorite quotes, Dad, is that right where you are, practice where you're going.
That's beautiful. I love it.
Mm. So living like this is heaven is me practicing where I'm going.
Oh, there you're closer to the truth. There, living like this is heaven. Yeah, we should live and we should aspire to be better selves each day we live.
A question
Try not to be assholes.
a question I had while you were talking is, why do you need there to be more than just this?
More than just this.
Yeah.
But look at all the famous the psychiatrists. These the guys that's doing the talking. But Nietzsche said, I think it was Nietzsche, that if this what we're living is just that, why not commit suicide? If you say, well, and don't take yourself now, take somebody that's really suffering today. Why live? Why don't commit suicide? If there's nothing to answer to, if there's nothing beyond this, why live? Why
For
just
love.
not end it? Why?
For love.
But why?
Because I believe that you would not have any experience at all if not for love.
Okay, that's beautiful. Okay, now I've loved and everything. Now my life is in trash. I don't like it anymore. I don't feel alive. Why not commit suicide?
It's your derivative.
No, but why not?
You have the choice to.
I know.
I'm not
But why
trying.
don't you do it?
I'm not trying to convince anybody to do it or not.
No, but this is the point I'm trying to make, Estienne. That's why people don't do it. It's because we love life.
Yes.
Yes.
There we go. Now we're resonating.
Why do we love life? Because it's a free gift that God gave us. So He gave us that will to live. Nobody wants to die, but everybody accepts that He is going to die.
Yeah.
Yes. So okay. So what happens after death? Now you can believe, okay, well, now I'm just going to dust or whatever. That's also as grim. If there's nothing after this life, nothing that I have to aspire to, then if things aren't going my way, why not end it? But this thing in you that you want to live is that eternal thing that's in you. We know our souls are eternal. We can't run away from it.
Okay, so
and that's why we love life.
There we just connected on something we agree on, Dad. Our souls are eternal.
Yes.
Infinite.
No, not infinite.
Papa, eternal is infinite.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is, Dad.
Infinite means it is always been and it will always be.
And
That's
eternal?
Infinite. Eternal means it will carry on to be for always.
Okay,
It's
so
two different,
infinite
no, it's
again.
Not, no, it's not, Estienne. It's not. Because a baby that's been born today didn't have a soul yesterday.
I disagree.
I have to agree with that as well, because he was alive in his mother's womb. So, okay, but before he was conceived, he didn't have a soul. He didn't have a body. He didn't have a spirit. So now, then he was created. And God breathed his life into him, which gave him soul, body, and spirit.
I'm close to believing the same thing, Dad. Only difference is, I believe we're all God, right? So the same, I know you don't have to agree with me. That's what I believe. And that God essence, that ultimate pure awareness, always is. Never is not.
I would love to believe that, because then I know I don't have to worry about wearing glasses. I don't have to worry about nothing, because if I'm God, I will just make everything the way I want it to be every day. I wouldn't go to work. I wouldn't do all these things I do.
I'm so happy you share that, Dad, because one of my favorite examples to give someone when I tell them this belief system of we're all God is this one of a Zen koan, where a monk wakes up one morning and he decides, my meditation is very important, right? I'm a holy person. I'm not going to do anything other than meditate today because I want to reach enlightenment. And he walks outside his room and he sees the board of all of the chores that needs to be done today. And he sees on the board his name. It's your day to mop. And he thinks, and you know what? I'm important. My work is important. I'm gonna sit down and meditate. And he sits down and meditates. And an hour passes, 3 hours pass, 7 hours pass, 8 hours pass. And he finally becomes enlightened. He remembers, I am God. Without a shadow of a doubt, he remembers, I am God. And he jumps off from his meditation and he runs to the food hall where all of the monks are sitting to eat dinner. The day is over. And he's like, my dear monk friends, I remembered, I am God. I am God. And all of them look at him and they say, congratulations. Took you long enough. Now mop the floor.
Yeah, silly.
Hmm.
Silly.
That's what I believe, Dad.
Yeah.
You're not
You
better.
you cannot-
You're not separate from. You are everything, including the grime on the floor that you have to mop as well.
No, you're not that innocent. If you want to believe you, the grime on the floor, then you're welcome to do it. I'm not. Because I know that I'm different to this piece of grass. I know I am.
What makes you different
It's-
to it, Dad?
This is not alive.
Yes, it is.
growing.
It's alive.
Okay, so ask it a question.
Why do I need to ask it a question for it to be alive? Can I ask Pippi a question?
Yeah, well, you can.
No, I can't, Dad.
She reacts to things.
She's gonna
So
react. She can't
there's
answer
certain
me,
levels.
but she's very much
But
alive.
yes, right. She also can't
And
answer the
and this is
question
producing
because-
oxygen that
because
you
they
can
don't-
breathe right now,
because-
helping you
because
be
they-
alive.
God never breathed into the animals, huh? God never said, let's make animals in our image. He said, let's make humans. Let us make humans
That's
in our image.
a people story, Papa.
That's what you believe.
We consider ourselves superior to the rest of things.
Of course we are.
We're not.
No, we are. We are.
We
placed
are
here-
part and parcel
No.
too, Dad.
We are placed here as caretakers of this estate, and that's where humans make the mistake. We never placed here to rule. We placed here to take care.
To create order. I
Yes.
agree with that.
But then people fell into sin, and that's where we are right now, and this is still happening today. If you want to turn your back on God, and things go wrong, and you end up not inheriting eternal life, you cannot blame God for that.
Mm.
So if the world's in a mess because people decided, listen, I'm going to have it my way, I'm not going to have it God's way.
You see, but this is the joke about Christianity for me that I keep getting stuck
Okay, so
with.
what's so funny about it?
Listen, is you're gonna get eternal life no matter what.
Yeah, you are. You're quite right.
Yeah.
It's going to be in the presence of God.
Even if you,
it's not going to be in the
so
presence of God.
like, there's
So
no
what is
losing.
God?
Like, if God sends me to hell for eternity,
Mhm.
I'll become so powerful, Dad.
You
I'll
really
become
think
so powerful.
That's-
It gives me
that's
an
it.
eternity to grow, to become stronger, to weather pain and suffering.
In the absence of light and in the absence of love. Because you just now said that's what God is.
And
He's
I
light
shared
and he's
with you
love and he's all these things.
that
So
awareness,
now,
Dad,
so now you say you'll
cannot
be happy,
exist without
you'll be
love.
happy to be in the absence of love, in the absence of light, in the absence of all that's good. You want to be.
didn't say any
you
of
wanna
those
choose-
things.
No, but that's what God is.
Dad,
That's what God
again,
is.
you
So
are that.
if you, no, I'm definitely not. I'm
Are you
flawed.
seeing light right
No,
now?
I'm flawed.
Are you experiencing
I
anything at
know I'm
all?
flawed. So I know I'm not perfect. this
Okay.
time.
Again,
That's why I keep
from my
saying to you.
perspective,
So-
that you cannot experience anything at all if not for love, including this image you have of hell. You can't experience it if not
Well,
for
but I
love.
don't want to experience it.
Okay, but that's what creates the fear in you
But
to
that's
behave
exactly what
certain
the
ways.
difference is between light and darkness as well. Is that darkness wasn't created. Darkness is the absence of light.
Okay.
Evil wasn't created. It's the absence of good. So when people decide, listen, I'm gonna not do what's good, it's bound to end up being evil. Because if you keep on following not the truth and following the not good route, it's gonna end up evil. Because what's going to happen is you're going to start off and then you're going to say, well, okay, I'm more important than this guy or I'm better looking or whatever. And it's going to end up in a Hitler, in a Mussolini, look at all these guys through the ages that massacred hundreds of thousands of people. It's because they believed I'm God
Okay.
and I can judge and rule. That's
Yeah.
a human trait. It's a human trait and it's a human flaw. Even the Bible says, man will proclaim his own goodness. That's a thing that's within us. And that's why we want to be seen as doing okay. And it's good. It's good. There's a healthy ego and there's a healthy showing up, but there's also an unhealthy one.
Okay, so that
And where's the line?
in this context of doing things, that's gonna pull us further away from the light or push us closer to it, how is practicing yoga, making art, and showing up for community evil?
I never said it's evil.
Okay.
So
If it's not,
where's the question coming from?
the question is coming from you considering me a narcissist for doing this.
When did I say that?
Dad?
Did I say
Like
you're a narcissist?
2 days ago, maybe?
That you're a narcissist?
Jy's selfsugtig.
Yeah.
That's narcissism.
No, narcissism isn't like an narcissism is everything is just about yourself. Being in a state where you say, well, it's about me, and you know the burst out that we had in the house, Estienne, and that was what it was all about. Is you taking it too far to say it's all about me, and if I don't get it my way, the next thing that follows is aggression.
I wasn't aggressive, Dad.
You were. You were the things you
Dad,
said, the way you said
aggression
it.
is when you hurt other people.
No, it's not, Estienne. So you say, okay, I can do whatever I want as long as I don't take something and hit you. I'm not being aggressive. Is
Not saying that. Like, why do you try to put words in my mouth?
But you just now saying you never hurt anything. So
yes, you didn't raise my voice.
You cannot say aggression equals hurt, Estienne.
Like when someone doesn't raise their voice, tries to attack you personally or physically, you cannot call it aggression, Dad.
So emotional battering is you can trash anybody in a sweet and serene voice, and that's not aggression.
So I was trashing on you. Like I'm asking so I can understand that.
I'm trying to explain it to you, Estienne, but if you don't want to listen to the fact that you have definitions of certain things, that you say, well, if I don't hurt anybody, then I'm not aggressive, so then I can react and act any way I want. As long as I don't pick up something and hit somebody, I can act and react in any way I want. It's wrong.
I'm not
It's wrong
saying
to think
that.
like that, because then you're going to end up pushing the boundaries to say, well, okay, as long as I just not pick up something, I can do anything I want. It's wrong.
I don't believe that.
Don't you believe that it's wrong or not wrong? What do you believe?
I don't believe the example you just made, Dad.
Okay. Well, then don't say that I wasn't aggressive because I didn't hurt you. It's not a.
Dad, when someone stands up for themselves,
Mm-hmm.
right, for something they believe in, for something they're passionate about, for their work, for the things they want to do in the world,
Mm-hmm.
that can be interpreted as aggression, or it can be interpreted as passion.
No, there's a difference between passion and aggression, Estienne.
Explain to me the difference, Dad.
Don't you know? Don't you know what's the difference?
So, Dad, if you look at my life and the way I do things day to day, am I being aggressive or am I being passionate?
I'm not saying you're always aggressive, Estienne.
Okay, like let's do percentages then. Am I 10% aggressive? Am I 50% aggressive? Am I 90% aggressive?
Okay, let me put it to you like that. If because you have to put a precursor in there. If you get in your way, you're like 99.75% just passionate.
Okay,
You really are.
that's good.
And I'm commenting you.
I'm taking it.
That's why I've never said I don't like you or I hate you. Or, I've never said that.
But you do tolerate me.
I honestly and truly love you, and I do tolerate you. Yes, and I only tolerate you because it's been called upon me. I'm your father. I need to be tolerated. I need to say, well, I need to show you what the love of God is like. Do I succeed?
You do that.
No,
you do. You do.
I don't think I do.
You do.
Because I do mess up as well, Estienne.
No, all of us
But
do.
I'm trying to show you what it is to be forgiving, what it is to be soft.
A father figure.
What it is to be a father figure. I'm trying my best to show you.
You do well, Dad.
Oh, thank you very much. I know I'm not perfect in that. So I missed the train of thought now.
Talking about compassionate or aggressive.
Yeah. Okay, but if you're not getting your way, it's almost the flip of that. I wouldn't go 99%. I'll go 75% aggression. And that you can call anybody in the family.
Yeah.
You can call them right now.
I really like getting my way, Dad. I do.
But when it turns into aggression, it's wrong.
Dad, but I'm not aggressive in the way I used to be. And we were talking about that today.
Call anyone.
I've been multiple different people throughout my life.
Yeah.
And if
Because
you
you're still seeking.
if you
and this
consider
is what
the
I'm
type
saying.
of aggression that I used to show up in the world, where I used to be actually aggressive, violently
Ah,
aggressive.
that's true.
And am I that person still, Dad?
No, you're not. You've changed a lot.
And do you think I'll continue to change?
I hope so. I
Yeah.
hope you keep seeking the
So
truth.
I'm showing up every single day for that growth in myself.
That's the only thing that I say to you, is, and I keep on saying that to you. I can see you still seeking. And
I don't think you
sincerely-
should ever supposed to stop seeking that.
Ah, well, you'll stop seeking truth when you find truth. I don't seek certain mathematical equations anymore because I know them.
So on that,
Do I know
my
everyone? No.
mathematical equation is love is true, and I seek that.
I love is true.
I seek love,
Yeah.
and then I find look, love, 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 love,
I've
love,
never-
love, love,
I've
love,
never
love,
said
love,
love is
love.
not true.
Terpillus, even Terpillus was bedridden. He was extremely sick, and he's back again. Terpillus, it's nice having you here, friend. Sending you good vibes. This is so heavy. Sending Mel a lot of love and support. Thank you. You see, love is true.
Yeah.
That's the thing I'm seeking in the world. Instead of
Okay.
seeking fear, instead of seeking sin, instead of seeking, money, I'm seeking love.
Mm.
That's what I'm showing up for.
I fully support that. If we all can say, well, but it's not just about love, is, and what is love? And I say to you, if you think what love is jealous. Love has consequences.
Love
You cannot have love.
Love in
If
my
there's
mind
not if there's not
is
a free
two
choice.
things. That one is the ability for unity and multiplicity to exist at the same time, right?
Mhm.
So God as a unity, as complete unity, right? Oneness,
Mhm.
can fracture into multiplicity because of how much he loves. That instead of being selfish, only me, always only me, he created infinity. That's how much he loved. One.
No, he didn't
And then
create
this is
infinity.
this
Was.
is my personal perspective. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying what I believe. And then the other one is love is supposed to show you how much you can endure. Right? So there's no aspect of jealousy in any of those fractals to me when I say the word love. Love is supposed to be this existence, the opportunity to exist at all. And then when this existence, this opportunity to exist at all isn't necessarily as great as it can be, love will be the thing that will help you endure whatever it is you're going through. Where does jealousy come into that?
Jealousy is part of love.
I don't agree.
Yeah.
I don't agree.
Can you force somebody to love you?
Nope.
Okay, so it's a free choice.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you fall deeply in love with someone and somebody else comes into the picture, is it right or is it wrong to feel, hey, what are you doing on my turf?
It is an attachment, Dad.
No, is it right or is it wrong?
I believe it's wrong.
Well, then you don't love.
It's
you
an
don't love that person.
attachment,
No,
Dad.
then you don't love. If you say, I love this person, I want to spend my life with this person, and that person feels the same, and somebody comes in from the side, and you don't feel, hey, what are you doing here? We've made a commitment to each other. What are you doing here?
Okay. That and again,
Then you have to ask yourself the question, okay, why don't I feel I have to protect what I have?
because
If
you
they-
don't love.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, but hear
So
what
that-
I'm
that
saying.
emotion-
That
that
if
emotion
love
that
isn't
you get-
true on both sides, if that person doesn't love you and you don't love that person, that possibility to feel that way isn't even, in the spectrum of things, right? But if that other person actually loves you, if the truth in their heart is love for you, then any other person cannot influence that infinity.
Go ask psychologists if your theory is going to hang true, Estienne. We all fallen prey to temptation and stuff. Huh?
Yeah.
So would you honestly say if you married one day, and your wife says, "Listen, I want to go out every evening. I'll give you Friday evenings, but all the other evenings I want to go out with other men. I love you, my honey, because you're mine. I love you. You're gonna be okay with it."
I probably won't be that.
No, why?
But because of attachment.
Because you love her. No.
Not because of jealousy.
No, because you love her. And love has a few rules. You cannot say, I love you, but listen, okay, I want to go out with other people. Then you don't love. So there's certain conditions to love.
Mm-hmm.
To make it work, there's conditions to it. This is what I'm saying.
You know so today's whole stream topic, Dad, is trust.
Yes,
and I feel
there's
that
conditions to
that
trust
is
as well.
actually the thing that you're talking about. You're
No.
not talking about love.
Of course.
You're not talking about jealousy.
No,
You're talking about trust, because that is the thing with relationships. We don't get hurt when someone cheats on us because we feel less loved or because we're jealous. We get hurt because we lose trust. We lose trust in the fact that all of the experiences before that we considered loving might have been faked. That is the thing that hurts us the most, not us being jealous.
Of course it is. It's
about trust. It's not about jealousy.
You can call it whatever you want. There is certain rules to trust. There's certain rules to love. You say it's unconditional. I would have loved everything in life to be unconditional. Even love is not unconditional. The only one that can unconditionally love is God.
Yes.
Because He stands outside of us. He created us. And that's and one day when you're a father, let's talk about this again. That's why I'm accepting all these things. Because I have a snippet of God's heart being a father. And it's just a snippet. I can't even comprehend how much He must love us. Because the love that I feel for my children is so immense, but I know it is not even a drop in the ocean of what God's love is.
Okay,
God so loved the world that He sent His only Son to die for us.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I don't love people enough to say, I'm going to sacrifice my children for them. I don't. So this is what I'm saying. I cannot even try to comprehend the mere complexity and the mere awesomeness of God's love. I can't. That's what I'm saying to you. There's something outside of us. You have a view of what's right and what's wrong. The next guy does as well, and so does the next guy. So where is the law that's above the law?
Awareness that.
Awareness of what?
Awareness at all. Like we were talking about, like love can't be unconditional. What condition have to be met for you to have all of this, Dad?
No, but Etienne, this is not love.
How is it not love, Dad?
This is creation.
The fact that we get to breathe oxygen right now.
The fact that it's been created for us.
Okay.
Through love. Yeah, it's beautiful. But this is not love. This is creation. It's created in love.
So, Dad, I create with love, right? This is a creation out of love. My flowers.
It's a creation.
It's your interpretation.
Yeah.
You can look at creation and feel that love in your heart.
So what if there's somebody on the stream here that thinks, this is not for me. I think these guys are talking nonsense.
Then they get to be anywhere else in the infinity.
Yeah.
So that if you actually wanted to experience the entire internet, you won't be able to.
No, I won't be able to.
And in the time that you try to, there will be an infinite amount more of the internet for you not to experience.
No, that I get.
So the internet is, even though it isn't infinite, not in the broad, definition of the word, to us as human beings, it is infinite. And these friends are choosing out of this infinity they can expose themselves to be here now. For love.
Yeah.
Not for jealousy. Not a condition doesn't have to be met.
Yeah. Okay.
Love.
Listen, I've challenged you the same. I'm going to challenge everybody listening. Are you willing to seek truth?
Love is our truth, Dad.
But what is love?
I keep
There's a lot of
telling
songs about
you.
it. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. So, what is love? You have to ask yourself the question.
Multiplicity and unity.
This is all beautiful
ability
words,
to endure.
No. It's all beautiful. That's characteristics of love.
You're asking me what love is, Dad. So what is love to you? Let's ask. Let's
let
pose
me-
the question back. What's love to you?
Love is God.
Okay, so love is truth in my mind, right? As like
Yeah.
a infinity symbol.
But I understand. I understand where love comes from. I understand what gives me the power to love.
Mm.
You don't get that by just being yourself.
You get that by seeking truth, Dad.
Yeah.
And that's what you're
That's what I'm saying.
suggesting. So if we
Yes.
seek truth, and the truth is love,
Hmm.
then
And then the
love
truth,
is true.
and then the truth will set you free as well. Huh?
Yeah, and the truth has set us free, Dad.
That's a biblical principle. So that's stealing from the Bible again. So
Yeah.
if truth will set you free, if you don't feel free in anything, you should ask yourself the question: am I really being set free?
Mm.
So we can talk a lot about these things, Esther. But like I say, I'm challenging you and I'm challenging everybody.
So that
You seek the truth.
in
And I'm
this,
going to ask everybody here, and I'm not punting Christianity, I'm punting truth here. I just found, and let me tell you, I can assure you, I've looked at all the religions. And if you look at the religions and you look at the logic how it follows, then Christianity is the one that is standing out as number one. So now, if I get to, is it 100% proven? No, it's not. I'm sitting here being a Christian. I'm telling you this. I don't think it's 100% because I'm still in this flesh. I can't prove everything. But look at the evidence. If you follow the evidence and you say, I think this is 60% true, and I think this is 80% true, and I think this is 40% true, and I think this one is 99% true. Choose the one you want to follow. And for me, that's Christianity, because I can back it with evidence. Not necessarily proof, I can back it with evidence
okay.
of somebody that lived, somebody that taught, somebody that died, somebody that rose. It's evidence.
Thank you for sharing that, Dad. In that context, my belief is love, right? I believe in love. So I take out all of this belief system, all of these stories, and I get straight to the source. And my evidence is ceaselessly, every single day, being shown to me. The fact that I get to wake up in the morning shows to me God loved me enough for me to wake up now this morning. God loved me enough for me to be able to have eyes to see this tree. God loved me enough to give me ears to be able to hear
That
these
was
birds.
free gifts that he gave. You know?
Okay. So the point I'm trying to make, that is that you're encouraging me to pursue truth. And the truth that I found is the truth of love.
Mhm.
Right?
So
And you're suggesting that I should follow the evidence. Love is 100% true. Love equals true in my world. It's one.
That's what I
So the
asked you as well,
evidence is
Etienne.
perfect, Dad.
There is no, it's not. No, it's not.
How is it not perfect?
Then you would have seen only love, Estienne.
I do.
Well, then I would have seen only love in you as well.
Okay.
If you say you're 100%,
So,
on 100%.
do you follow me around all day, every day?
No, but I see enough to see that there is not always love, Estienne.
When are you not seeing love, Dad?
When you're being aggressive, when you're being, it's all
So,
about me.
I would
me,
like to
myself, and I.
share that this aggression you're talking about usually comes from me trying to encourage you or the family.
Okay, now do you think that's good, Estienne?
I believe so,
To
Dad.
turn it into aggression.
Dad, when things don't change for years, for decades, what do you
So
think is the next logical step?
To be aggressive.
To get angry.
That's what you think, Estienne.
Dad, can we get angry as human beings?
So what are these things that for decades hasn't changed? Now, what is so bad that for decades it hasn't changed?
Exploitation, Dad.
Exploitation. What is that?
When people get exploited.
Mm-hmm. So how do I exploit people? Tell me, give me a quick example.
I don't want to get into this example because it's not going to be indicative of growth.
No, it's not going to be, because then I'm going to point it back at you and say, well, okay, why don't you help these people that's be so exploiting? You just sit in your room and watch series, mini-series, and do all this. Then you should help.
Am I not helping?
Then that is exploitation, to say, well, I am too good to cut the grass. There's other people that must cut the grass. How many times have you cut the grass?
Not a lot.
No. How many times is not a lot?
How many times have you cut the grass?
Yeah. probably about 100 times
That's a lie.
in my life.
In your life
Here
now.
on this farm,
Yeah.
about 20 times.
Okay. So 20 times.
Yes.
And now you're 20 times better than me.
How do you get to that?
You're exploiting 20 times less than me. See, like
I don't even see how
you're
you
you're
get to
making
that,
this
is it?
example how
So
if I
it's not
pose the
about you
question
again.
of exploitation, no, we were talking about exploitation, Dad,
No, I'm
and
telling
then
you-
making it my fault because I'm not making a bigger difference. I'm trying to. That's the
Yes,
difference.
Yes, Esteban, to try to make a difference in only one sphere in life.
Dad,
This is making
do I have
difference.
a car right
Then
now?
There's a
Do I,
broken pipe
I'm asking
now.
you a question.
I would have, if it
Do
was
I
me,
have
I
a
would
car
have.
right now?
Why don't you have a car?
Because I can't afford one right
I've
now.
given you money to buy a car.
Yeah, and I had to spend that money to live, to
No,
buy my
no,
apartment,
no,
or to
no.
rent an
No, that's not
apartment.
the truth.
Is it not the
No,
truth?
it's not the truth.
Are you
Esteban.
sure about
Yes,
that?
I am. Because by the time you got that money, you said you're going to invest it in crypto and all these other things. How much crypto do you have right now? In Rand?
It's 77 about.
Oh, it's less than what I've given you. So it went backwards. Fact is, there's your money. Buy yourself a car.
Okay?
Yeah?
You're not listening to the point I'm trying to make, Dad.
Okay, so what's the point?
The point I'm trying to make is how I can, without a car, without moving from this place, make a difference.
You've asked me the question, do I have a car? I said,
Okay? Because I
give
was
it a
trying to get at a point and then you tried to make it an ego thing. It wasn't about an ego thing.
how did I make it an ego thing?
Because you took it as an attack instead of as a
But
question.
how did I make it an ego thing?
You took it as an attack
Attack on what?
on you as you're not buying me a car, so asking me, oh, did I give you the money? Took it as an
did give you
attack.
money. You've also
Okay.
said to people on your stream that you didn't go study because we didn't have money to go study.
Isn't that true?
That's not the truth.
Okay, Dad, are you sure about
Yeah,
that?
I'm 100% sure about that, Estienne.
Did you or did you
I've
not
got
tell
a-
me
I've got a-
that if I wanted to go and study a business degree, I'd have to pay for it myself?
No, you didn't want to go study business degree, Estienne. You started off with a BSc, and then you said to me, you decided you will show me you will not study in school. Can you remember that at that private school I put you in? The conversation we had, and you said you wanted to make a point. I will not study. So now you get bad marks.
That was
so
in
now,
high
now
school.
you're not qualified. Yes, but you have to in high
I
school
qualified,
get
Dad.
the yeah.
I qualified for my degree.
you
I
said
got
science.
accepted into university, and then I
No,
came
hang on.
to you.
You said first science. So I said, okay, yes, fine, go. Then you said, okay, now I want to spot. And you ended up with chasing after a goal to the university, not even being sure what you want to go study. You just wanted to go there. And for that, I said, if you want to go play and waste money,
Dad,
don't even
I
know what you...
already got
No.
accepted into university for a
No.
BA besigheid.
Yeah, at where?
Okay.
At Potch.
At,
Following?
Yeah, Poch.
Mm.
And following the girl.
Yes, following the goal.
Okay, so you're saying I didn't know what I wanted to go study.
You
I was
did.
going to go and study business, Dad. And now I have a business. How about that? It's almost like I knew I was going to do that. And I agree, and I've shared this on stream, Dad, that if that was the way that my life went, I wouldn't be where I am right now.
but then don't tell lies.
I'm not telling lies.
You are, Estienne. If I walk past you, you've asked me the question is why don't I tune into your streams? I cannot keep on listening to lies. I cannot.
Okay, now confirm these lies I've been telling.
How can I confirm a lie?
Listen in and tell me I'm lying. Here you told a lie.
I cannot.
If I
sit
tell
here
so
every day,
many
Estienne.
lies, Dad, then you'll have at least one lie to tell me I've been telling.
Well, you've had a couple today.
Okay, what lies? You didn't hear the context of what I was sharing.
Okay,
You called me a narcissist, self-suchtig, omdat ek elke dag opdag vir hierdie, because I show up every single day for this.
No, that's
And
a
then
lie. That's a
I'm
lie.
trying to encourage you
okay.
to do the same.
that what
And
I'm
then
saying?
you came into stream
but
and you're
that's a
like,
lie.
oh, you're lying. You're saying we're not showing up for anything, but you have a roof over your head and you have food to eat. That's not what I was saying. I was talking about aspirations for the future and showing up every single day towards that future.
Okay. And you say we're not doing it.
Are you, Dad?
Do you have food on your table every day, Estienne?
Dad, life, you were just talking about we need more than just this.
Estienne, I've got 3 businesses running right now. How much ambition and how much things must I have?
Okay, in Wessel?
No.
in
Let's
Shanghai.
let's keep this conversation on me.
We're talking about the whole family, Dad. I was talking about the whole family. Throughout my life, I've not seen my family, and you can say this is a lie or not. I've not seen you have ambitions and building towards them actively.
That's what you think, Estienne.
Why don't you share your dreams with me, Dad?
Estienne, why don't you ask me?
I do.
Is what do you see? What do you see around you? Do you think this farm just happened by itself? Do you think the business has happened by itself? Do you think the house in Pretoria, the house in Groblersdal?
Okay. So
Do you think
now
all
you're
these
talking
things
about
just
all of these
happen?
physical things.
Yes.
What are they for?
What are they for?
What is the dream, Dad?
The dream is to build a future for you guys.
Okay.
That's the dream. But the dream is also to say, well, I'm doing the best with the capabilities and the talents that I've received as a free gift. I'm doing the best that I can. So is this all just for me? I hope not. I hope I get to a point where I can say, well, now I'm going to start sharing. And to a point I do. I would like to do it more. To share with other people as well. That's the dream.
Okay. Why is this the first time I've ever heard you say that, Dad?
It's probably the first time you've asked.
No, it's not.
And it's probably, is it?
No, it's
okay,
not
That's
that.
what you think, Esther. That's what you like to believe.
When we talk about the future, Dad,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have a conversation. You either tell me no, that won't happen.
Yeah, if you say to me AI is going to take over the world and we're all going to sit in our lounges and drink tea and do whatever we want,
Mark my
I don't
words.
think that's going to happen.
Mark my words.
I think there's going to be anarchy. Does it sound like utopia? I think it does sound like utopia. I've actually been saying, you know, if I was God, I would just like to sit here. I don't, because we're not built like that.
Nope.
We built to do things.
Yep. I agree.
You know?
That's my lesson
and
every
yeah,
single day.
And for that you have to work, Estienne.
And here we are
Mhm.
doing exactly that. Actually, I missed my Sangha. How about that? I had another work I had to do, Dad, that I missed now because we were streaming. I mean, we might as well keep streaming now at this point.
I have to go finish the car. I need to leave at 4:30
Rij op
tomorrow
vandaag.
morning.
Wat
Tomorrow
morgen.
morning. To show up
Mm-hmm.
for my work.
Yeah. And Dad, how long did it take you of you not showing up for work?
I never stopped showing up, Estienne.
That's not the truth, Dad.
How many cattle is on this farm?
So you needed to be there for the cattle to procreate.
Who do you think did all the medicines and the and keeping them healthy? Do you think that happens by itself?
Wie heb je ze vannacht doen, pa?
I'm
Eerlijk
there,
waar.
I'm there every time
Okay.
they get into the kraal.
Point I'm trying to make, Dad, is that your hiatus, where you were like 7 years not really working, right?
That's also not true. Huh?
6 years?
Yeah, and in that time,
Okay.
in that time, I still consulted.
Okay, so
In that time,
you
every
were
month-
consulting but not being paid for your work.
That's also not true. You know what the living out expenses is here per month. Your mum did excellent. She managed to get about a quarter of what we needed each month. She managed to get together.
She's baking.
The 3/4, I still had to flock out.
That,
Christian.
and I'm not trying
So-
to
so
demonize you or trying to
No,
say that
I'm
you're
not- I'm
a
not
horrible
saying, I'm not saying you
person.
do that, Estienne, but that is the provision of God. That even through a period of this, well, it's not really despair. I call it my desert experience. Even walking through this desert, and that's what I say to you is in 2016 when they stole 54 of our cattle, when the pivot stood, when everything broke, when there was so many things going astray, that's where some spiritual truth became truth for me. Is that the joy that's within us is a gift from God. Philippians 4 verse 7. You guys can go read it. So that free gift, that joy, that surpasses all understanding. If everything is going well with you and you feel this joy and the peace in your heart, if everything is going well, then it's not surpassing all understanding. If everything is going the opposite of well, and it's actually going horrible, and you still have this inner peace and joy, that can only come from God. And that is the free gift that He promises us and that I've experienced.
So that, like, I'm thinking about this, and the point I'm trying to make is that during that year, right, or that few years, I didn't see you showing up for something. I saw you believing, and as you're mentioning right now, you gained more depth in your spiritual relationship, right? You found a certain level of joy, a certain level of vrede wat verstand te boven gaan,
Yeah.
peace that goes beyond
That
thinking.
surpasses all understanding.
Yeah, yeah. So during that time of my life, Dad, when like things were at an all-time high when it comes to the aggression between you and Mom, between you and me, between you and Vessel, between you and Rido, you know there was a lot of tension in the family at that point of our existence, right? True or false?
There will always be tension in a family.
Okay, so
Always.
like I'm trying to make a point. During that tension, I didn't see you believing in something other than God. And I know, I understand that in your worldview, you see that as holy, as admirable, as something that's supposed to be done that way. But in my worldview, I see that as defeatist. I see that as you not having enough belief in yourself to try and create something differently, to rather believe in something outside of yourself.
But yet again, that continue believing in what I do is we've got a farm, we've got 130 odd pieces of cattle, so you can go put that in money. I have Advantech, I have MC Mining, I have the Zimbabwean mines. So I've got all this believing in what I believe in and trusting God to provide the way He did.
Yeah.
No? Listening to prophecies, seeing how prophecies are getting fulfilled right now. So if somebody tells you these things are going to be, that's been shown, and then it starts happening. It's not me believing in myself, and it's not.
But it is that.
No, it's not.
If you didn't believe in yourself enough to wash your car and show up tomorrow morning, then nothing is going to happen.
Listen, I'm not
God
saying,
is not going to take care of you, Dad.
Yes, I'm not saying that God said to me I should wash the car. That's taking it too far.
No, I'm not saying that either.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things we do that is still being, what's the right word? It's in the watchful eye of God. But not all things are ordained by Him. Not all things are placed in our hearts by Him. If I feel I want to have a toasted sandwich now, it doesn't come from God. That comes from me. If I feel, listen, hey, okay, 3 toasted sandwiches is enough. I don't have to take 7. Then it's also me saying, listen, hey, I'm making a pig out of myself, you know. So there's a lot of things that you have to decide on. I'm not discounting that, because that is a cop out. To say, oh well, okay, if I do something, if I now take up a gun and shoot somebody in the face, then I can say, oh, that was God telling me to shoot him. No, it's not.
Some people do that.
I know, because they demented. And it's an easy cop out. It's an easy cop out to say, well, okay, I can do whatever I want. It's not me. This is what I'm saying as well. If you say that I can be as aggressive if I want, I should just not hit somebody, then it's also fine.
Yeah, do what you want, don't harm
out?
others.
Yeah, it's a cop out. It's a cop out to say I can do whatever I want.
But you can, Dad.
No, you can't.
I can dress myself naked right now and run and scream here on the yard if I wanted to. It's not normal human behavior.
Foolish.
What's gonna make it foolish?
It's silly.
Why is it silly?
Why would you do something like that?
Because I can.
Ah, okay.
Because I can, Dad. I can do anything I want to do.
Okay, I know that. I can put my finger in my eye as well. Yeah. I don't think that will be a good thing as well, but I can.
And it will be an experience. You will be allowed.
It'll be a
You will be
experience.
Deeply allowed to experience all of it. God will not rob you of that experience.
That, of course, yes. God's not going to stop me to put my finger in my eye.
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Because He loves me enough to say, okay, your choices, you make them. But your choices you live with. So now the rest of my life, I'm walking with one eye. Who do I blame?
Yourself.
Exactly.
As that God as well.
No. I can't blame God for now walking around with one eye. And I can go pray now every day for another eye. I'm not going to receive it.
Okay, what about the people that got only one eye, Dad? Also by God's design, in your worldview.
Is it by God's design, or has it been in this flawed world we're in?
Okay, but
God's
He's the one who made this world in your worldview.
Yes.
So He made it flawed.
And then humans decided to rebel against Him. And then God said, okay, If you want it your way, then have it your way. But then I'm stepping back. What happened now? So if God is gracious enough and loving enough to say, well, okay, I'll step back. I'll limit my godly power momentarily so you can have it your way. Now things are falling apart. Go look at what happens in schools since they said, no, we should get God out of the schools. We should get God out of everything. Look at what's happening. They're killing each other and it's a mess.
Yeah, that
So who
we've been killing each other for a long
but
time.
God's not going to force himself on us, Christian. He's not. He's not going to force himself on us because he is loving and he's just.
Okay, but
But he
that
cannot be just as well to say, okay, if I'm just, then it means it goes positive and negative. Huh?
so that you're talking about forcing, right? If I don't force you to do something, but the consequences of you not doing that thing is eternal damnation,
Yeah.
you might as well force me.
No, it's not.
It is that. It's like me putting a gun against mama's head and then being like, I'm not forcing you, Dad. You can do whatever you want. But if you do whatever you want, then I'm going to kill mom. Right? Then you can be like, oh, well, he didn't force me to do the thing. He just held a gun against my wife's head. Right? That God is metaphorically holding a gun to every single person's soul in your
he's not.
religion,
No,
being
he's
like,
not.
you can do whatever you
No.
want, but I'm going to burn you for eternity
No,
if you do whatever you want.
No, he's not, Estienne. He's not. He's saying to you, you can choose. Do you want to be in my presence or don't you want to be in my presence? He's not saying to you, he's not designing hell and he's saying, well, who can I send to hell? Can I send
Who
to
made hell?
Huh? God made hell.
Okay, so he made hell. He did design hell.
Yeah, that's his prison.
Okay. And
For those that say, I'm not going
why
to
not
accept
send
him.
them to a timeout room? Why hell?
What? Because what is hell?
Evil.
Yes.
Yep, and he made it.
So it's good. No, he didn't make it.
You just said he made it.
No, I didn't say he made it. I said he made hell.
Okay.
He didn't make evil.
Is hell
What is evil?
hell good or evil, Dad?
Hell is evil.
Okay, so he made it.
He made hell. What is evil? It's the absence of good, Estienne.
Okay.
What is darkness? It's the absence of light. So God didn't make darkness.
So darkness was always
God,
there.
Yes, God spoke light.
So in your worldview, then darkness is just as powerful as God.
No.
Because if not for darkness, God doesn't have something to speak light into. So actually, darkness is larger than God in this context.
No, it's not, Estienne.
Well, it contains all of light, doesn't it?
No, that's silly. There's darkness everywhere,
Yes.
but there's not light everywhere.
There's less
So-
light
yeah.
everywhere than there is dark.
Okay, so where do you want to be? In the darkness or in the light?
I'm in the light right now. Dad.
Exactly. But that's a nice place
But
to be.
that's my
huh?
message,
But
Dad.
that's a nice place to be. is in
Instead
the
of
light.
telling
So,
myself
but
I'm
that
a
is-
dark thing and I need saving from that darkness,
No.
I live into the light.
Yes, okay, but now the light, if you take the source of light away, if you say the source of light, I don't want to be with the source of light.
You
I
cannot
don't
take
wanna
yourself
be-
away from it, Dad.
Yes, you can.
How do you do
created-
that?
Who created light?
I keep telling you that
created
this
light?
moment you're creating light.
No, you can't.
Close your eyes.
No, you
There it goes away.
Okay, so if it goes away from me, does it go away, Stan? If I close my eyes, do you really think those people on the screen doesn't see me anymore?
That's not what I'm saying.
Well, it is what you're saying.
What I'm saying is you're creating light in this
No,
moment.
you don't.
Dad.
No, you're not creating light.
Okay, so if you cease to exist, is
Yeah.
the light Chris van Aswiegen experiences still there?
The light I'm experiencing. No.
Every conversation,
No,
every
I'm not-
loving moment,
because I'm not here
every
anymore.
exactly.
Yeah.
So,
So how am I creating
okay,
it?
so now we can keep going that. If we remove every single human off of Earth,
Yeah.
where's God?
He'll still exist.
Why?
Because he's infinite, Estienne.
Okay.
Hmm?
So
God
why did he
didn't-
create us
God
then?
didn't need us.
He
He
clearly
created
does.
us. No, he doesn't.
He clearly does that.
No, he doesn't.
He needed us so much that he wrote a whole book for us, using us
Yeah.
as his main characters. That's how
Yeah.
much he needed us.
No, not you. You confuse need and love.
Papa,
You confuse
I
it.
would love for you to tell me a story,
Mm,
especially the biblical one, without using a single human.
a biblical story without using a human.
Yes.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
Uh-huh.
On day one, He did this and that and the next thing.
Okay.
I can tell you multiple stories
Mm-hmm.
where there's no humans.
Okay. So why is there so much humans in the Bible if it's not about the humans?
It's about God, Estienne. That's
Well,
the whole story about the Bible is not about humans. It's to glorify humans.
it's to demonize humans, in
No,
fact.
it's not. It's not.
It is.
No, it's not. Show me one place in the Bible
One
where,
of the
where
very
it's
first stories,
demonizing.
That's one of the very first stories is the story of Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
How all of the suffering we're experiencing right now
Mhm.
is our fault because two people made a decision. Now all of humanity will die sweet van jou aangesig sal jy jou kos verdien. Jy sal swaar kry as jy kinders gee.
Yeah.
Now all of humanity has to suffer
Do you really
because
think?
of two people's
Do,
decisions.
do you really
How is
think?
that a
Estienne-
loving God, Dad?
No, listen. Do you really think, Estienne, with your levels of aggression and stuff, that if you were Adam, you would have done it differently? Do you really think that?
I can't say.
I can promise you, God walked with Adam every evening. That's what the scripture says. So Adam was probably he had the best chance. And on that, the Bible is not clear how long they lived in Eden. Was it 10 years? Was it 100 years? Was it 300 years? We don't know. But the fact is that if there's an opportunity to choose freely, to love freely, there is always the opportunity to choose not to love freely. Or to say, well, I love all these rules, but why should I be bound by rules? I want to decide what rules I want to live by. And there's the thing coming in to say, well, I can have it my way, or I can have it God's way. But now I shouldn't be surprised that if I choose to have it my way and it doesn't work out, I can't be angry at God. I can't stand one day on Judgment Day, and as sure as God made apples, there's going to be a Judgment Day. To say, well, what you have done on earth, let's judge that. Because if you believe there's something after this, outside of life, then who goes to heaven, who goes to hell? If you say, well, good people go to heaven and bad people go to hell, who's good and who's bad? Nobody is good. Because we've all fallen prey to sin. All of us. So none of us is going to heaven. And that's the truth.
In your worldview, yeah?
Yeah.
In my worldview, all of us are in heaven.
No, but we're not, Estienne. Good grief. Ask these guys on the stream if all of them think. Because I surely, there's some people now going through horrible times. They will tell you, listen, this is not heaven. This can't be heaven. If this is what life is going to be about, me being a cripple, not having enough money, lots of things, being sick, this is heaven. You might think it's heaven, Estienne, because you're nice and you're fit and you're strong and you have everything going for you. So you are moving closer to a state of heaven, huh? Because you're privileged. Go ask unprivileged people if they think they're in heaven, even if they have the same worldview as you. Go ask people that tonight say to their kids, yeah, sorry, it is the third night in a row now that you'll have to go to bed hungry. But yeah, we're in heaven. Don't you enjoy it there? I don't think anybody's going to say, oh, this is heaven. We enjoy this so much. We want to live here forever. Nobody.
That, I can guarantee you, even those that suffer, 90%, if not more of their experience, is loving, is heavenly.
They don't think they're in heaven.
None of us do that. That's
You
the joke.
just said, you say.
Yeah, we don't want to believe we're in heaven. That's why we are so scared of dying. That's
Yeah.
why we build religion. To give
But
us hope that there is.
Didn't you just say this is heaven?
It's heaven to me.
And well,
And the point was that you're gonna get judged. That was where this conversation started from. You're gonna get judged one day, gaan voor die regterstoel staan, and then you are either going to earn heaven or not. But all of us are sinners, so none of us are gonna earn heaven. And then I said, we are in heaven.
But just now you said we're not.
We don't want to believe it.
No, but you have to make up your mind now what you're saying.
I'm saying the same thing.
No,
Dad.
you're not.
Yes, I am.
So then let's just get back to the point that none of us is going to inherit. So that's why God had to become human. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, He had to become human to atone for our sins. Because God is holy and He's just, and he can't go back on his word. So if God says, these things is my law, he can't just say, okay, I'll just excuse anybody. That's not being judged or a fair judge. It's like me being a judge and you come into a court. Now you're my son. So now I'm going to pull a favor for you. Is that being judge? Is that being a fair judge?
That's literally what it does, Papa.
No, it's not.
It's the bias of Jesus. Like if you accept Jesus, then he has bias towards you. But if you don't accept Jesus, then he doesn't have a bias towards you.
So you have to make a choice.
Okay? So then it's still evil, Dad.
No, it's not evil.
Yes, it is.
That is so beautiful, Esteban.
It's one of the most evil things I could imagine. Dad.
No, it's a free gift.
It's not a gift.
It is
Dad,
a free gift.
if I offer you a gift and I tell you if you don't accept this gift, you will have eternal suffering. It's not a gift. It is evil.
That's not.
And you know what the crazy thing about the Christian religion is as well? You believe that if someone has never been exposed to your truth and they die, they'll be judged on their character, right? So they won't be judged based on whether they believed or not. But as soon as they are exposed to this truth of yours, then they will be judged on it.
Because then you can make a choice.
So then again, we can go into the evil nature of people that go into, tribal villages and go and preach to them the gospel. So by extension, again, right, something that you consider to be love, you're holding a metaphorical gun to all of their heads, going towards them, invading their space, telling them that they need to believe in something in order to be saved.
Listen, rebellion is a beautiful thing, and having it just my way. It doesn't work like that in life. And surely it's not going to work like that for eternity as well. And that's what I'm keeping saying, is God doesn't hold a gun against your head. He doesn't force you to love him. It's a free gift.
It's not.
It's a free gift. Whether you accept it or not, that's what you need to.
It's not.
And I'm coming back to my question again, Esteban. If Christianity was true, would you believe in it?
Dad, and I keep telling you, and I've said this to Shante as well, a God that claims to love me, but damns me to an eternal suffering when I don't love him back, even if it's true, I will gladly burn in hell for eternity. Because that God is not love, Dad.
Okay, let me ask the question otherwise. Would God be fair to say, well, you don't choose me, you don't want to be in my presence, but I'm going to force you into my presence? Is that a fair God?
Are you forced into his presence now?
No, I'm talking about the same thing now. You say God is evil now because he's going to condemn you to eternal damnation.
If I don't believe what he wants me to believe.
But do you think God would be fair to say, well, okay, you don't choose him. I don't want to be in his presence. I don't want to accept him. To force you now into his presence. Do you think that's fair?
No, I don't.
That almost is evil. So now God says, well, okay, you don't want to be in my presence. You choose to say, I don't want to be.
Okay.
So how can God force you now to be
so
in his presence?
Now I can counter that argument.
God doesn't want to send anybody to hell.
Hear what I'm saying?
And he actually says that in his word. He doesn't want to send anybody to hell.
Okay. Let me counter your argument. If this is the truth, the thing you're saying right now, that he doesn't want to force us into sy aangesig, he doesn't want to force us into his presence. When you get sent to hell, that's your final destination. So if he loved you enough, wait a what I'm saying. If he loved you enough to actually allow you to step into his presence, then you would be able to do so at any point, even if you're in hell.
Do you think so?
But that's not how it works in the Bible, is it?
No.
Evil.
Yes, it's not evil, it's just
it's choice. Papa.
It's choice.
So now he takes your choice away. He gives you infinite choice. Now listen, he gives you infinite choice in this short period of a human lifespan. He gives you infinite choice. And then if you don't choose the one option out of infinity, he damns you for eternity.
So don't you think you should make seriousness about seeking the truth here, Sam?
That is evil.
No, it's not evil.
It is evil.
No,
unequivocally evil.
It is unequivocally evil for him to force you into his presence if you don't want to be there.
Okay, then I agree with that.
And God is not evil.
I agree with that.
And God is not evil.
Why does he continue to punish you even if you've made a different decision? If you're burning in hell and you're like, you know what? Maybe I do want to be in the presence of God.
Do you think you will?
And then he's like, no.
you-
According to the Bible, no.
Where in the Bible?
Kanye, oh, so I can, that's great. So I can sin my whole life, go to hell, realize I don't want to be in hell, and then accept God. That makes it so much easier, Dad.
Do you get that you're being fooled now?
I'm doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you haven't listened to what I said.
I've listened intently to every single word.
I said, where does it say in the Bible that you will have the ability in hell to make these choices?
It doesn't say it.
Because it's not going to be there.
I'm saying that's evil,
If you're
Dad.
going to be, no, if you're going to be in the absence of these emotions that you have of love, you're going to be in the absence of that, Ethan, because even love, as we experience it, is a gift. That's God.
Yeah, I agree.
Without God, if you're not in His presence and you don't have these emotions of love, you don't have.
Then there will be
emotions
no experience at all, Dad.
No, you think so?
How can there be an experience without love?
There's gonna be, yeah. That's what you call hate.
Okay, hate
Yeah.
is just a polarization of love.
Yeah, that's the absence of love.
Nope.
Yeah.
It is love in the wrong direction, right?
Uh-huh.
And you can call it the absence or you can call it stepping away from it,
You
right?
can call it whatever
But
you
if
want,
God was actually powerful, was actually loving, you would be able to step back at any point that you chose to.
but you won't be able to make that choice, Essim, because you will be in the absence of love.
Then it is evil.
That's not evil.
Something that takes away the absence of love or that creates an absence of love can only be evil.
Yeah, I agree. The only way God is evil is if He forces you into His presence without you wanting
He
it.
also apparently forces the absence of love, Dad. What is more evil than that?
No, He doesn't force the absence of love. Love is going to be with Him. He gives you the free choice to go to Him. Now you say, I don't want to be there.
Okay.
So who's wrong here now? God or you?
Okay.
That's
So
making the choice.
Dad, this
No,
logic.
it's easy.
I've
No,
thought
Ethan,
about this for
this is easy. No,
years,
but you
Dad.
haven't. You
Yes, I have.
You haven't, because you're misquoting the Bible and you're misquoting so many things, Ethan. So you haven't thought long and hard about these things. You've listened to a lot of guys on YouTube and a lot of things that you've done, but you haven't investigated and followed the evidence. You haven't.
If you say so, Dad.
I know so. I know so.
Point I'm trying
But,
to make is that, and this is with the question, the whole kind of like little stint of argument we had, was that even if your God is real, right? It still requires me to believe in something lest I suffer for eternity. And I will not believe in that.
You see, you have two ways of looking at this. If you only want to look at the negative in this, you always will only see the negative. Look at it from the perspective that if I don't want to be in the presence of God, He's going to force me into His presence. Then I'll be with you as well.
Okay.
I don't want to be. I don't want to be.
Then I can counter that, Dad. If you want to be in the presence of God, He will force you not to be able to return.
No, but you don't want to be in His presence.
But if you want to, Dad, you've burned in hell for 5 billion years. And listen, you've burned in hell for 5 billion years, and you're like, you know what? This burning in hell wasn't
not a good
great.
thing.
Yeah,
No. I should have made different choices.
I'm gonna
in life.
choose differently.
I
want to be.
I should have with sincerity listened to good reason and followed the evidence instead of following my own agenda. Listen, those are questions I can't answer you because it's actually not in the Bible. But here's an interesting thing. You know, would I want to take that gamble? For sure not.
Yep.
I don't want to take that gamble to say, well, I'm gonna not want to be in the presence of God, and then if I'm gonna give hell a good go. I'm gonna see if it's as bad as the Bible says. You know?
That
And then I see, oh, this is not good. And now I say, okay, no, okay, time, peace. Let me choose again.
where am I not in the presence of God?
No. Don't make it about you.
I'm
Don't make it
asking
about
you
you
from
again.
this perspective of
Yeah.
you're talking about not being in the presence of God, right? And that if you remove yourself from the presence of God, you remove yourself from the presence of love, you won't get to have that. Right.
Have you committed sin in your life?
Of course I have.
And can sin be in the presence of somebody that's holy?
Yeah.
No, it can't.
Yes, it can.
No, because God hates sin.
Dad,
He
they
says
say
he
that
hates sin.
people literally, were selling things in the temple in
Yeah.
front of Jesus. Was he holy or not?
Say again?
Was Jesus holy?
No, he was human. No, he wasn't holy.
Oh, okay.
No.
That's new.
How's it new? Jesus claimed when the young man came to him and he said, "Good master," what did he say? He said, "Why do you call me good? Only God is good." Because Jesus realized in his human flesh, he's still subject to all these things.
Okay.
He just chose not to do anything
You're
wrong.
making me very
And he's-
happy now, Dad.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
me. That's me.
Jesus never sinned, Estienne. You can't claim that.
How do you know he never sinned?
Because everybody, the claim has been there in his time that he's never sinned.
And what type of sins?
Go look at everybody.
What sins do I commit,
I mean,
Dad?
they crucified him, Estienne. So if there was people claiming that he never sinned, don't you think somebody would have written this down to say, well, there's these claims that he...
What
There would
sins have I
There
committed,
would have
Dad?
been hundreds of millions of transcripts saying, hey, there was this claim that he did this. There's not one.
Yeah. I have never harmed a single person in my life.
You think so?
Yeah.
Should I call your sister?
Please.
Should I call your brother?
Please. And then we can ask them how I harmed them. One of the ways I harmed my sister was telling her
you
she'd
haven't
be more
physically-
beautiful if she lost weight.
You haven't-
Right?
It's the way you say things, Estienne. If you don't think that the way you say things harm people, you misdirect it. Huh?
Okay, so I'm
You
sinning
must go-
then.
How do you want to bring that to sin, Estienne?
Dad, the point was that Jesus isn't, beyond. Jesus isn't holy. That's what you were saying. That this point came from, can you commit sin in front of someone holy? Right? And then I brought
God
the
is
point.
holy.
Okay, so God's the only thing that's holy.
Well, Jesus is with him now. So
And
he's holy.
Jesus was capable of all of these aggressions, all of these opvleene van sy
He definitely was.
But if I do the same thing, then I'm not living the fractal that I'm saying I'm
The
living.
difference here is Jesus didn't punt his ego.
Yes, he did.
No way.
Die enigste weg na God toe is deur my. How is that not ego? The only way to God is through me. Apparently, Jesus said.
Yeah.
That is uber ego.
Then he died and he rose again. He did not just die and rose again. A couple of 100 years before that, in the Old Testament, it was prophesied that the Messiah is going to die and in 3 days rose again. Then Jesus said to his disciples, I'm going to die. This temple is going to be broken down. In 3 days, it will be rebuilt. So in 3 days, Jesus rose again.
Okay.
Okay? So if you can make similar claims,
That-
I promise you.
I don't
promise you,
believe
Esther,
that.
No, well,
I don't believe
follow
it.
the evidence.
The evidence suggests that the closest we got to having any proof is 60 years
That's wrong.
after he was dead.
That is wrong.
60. It's not wrong.
That's
I've
wrong.
went and looked at the evidence as
Yeah,
well, Dad.
But don't go at the ones look at the evidence where guys wants trash.
I look at the physical
No,
evidence,
you haven't.
the actual transcripts they have still of the Bible. 60 years after his passing, Dad.
There's earlier
No,
there's
there's
earlier
not.
songs recorded. There's earlier songs recorded talking about the gospel, the same gospel. So
Talking
the-
about.
singing about it.
Yeah.
There's go look at the early popes. Go look at the early these early things, 60 years. Look at what they used. They in their writings write about manuscripts. So there is earlier ones.
Where are they, Dad?
I don't know, Estienne,
Yeah.
but there is thousands
So that-
upon thousands.
More will be born. But all
Where?
of those transcripts have been lost. Sorry.
Where?
They've been lost, Dad. I'm sorry.
Just show me one.
No, they've all been
No,
lost.
There is hundreds. there's about 20,000 transcripts found, Estienne, talking about Jesus.
Yeah.
So show me one. I can go show you 20,000.
All of those where they talk about Jesus, they're actually talking about me.
Ugh, no, Estienne.
You see how we can keep running in circles here, Dad?
No,
It's
but-
stories
no,
humans tell each other.
Yeah, Estienne, and it was foretold about a Messiah. Then the Messiah came, and it all became true.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Bible tells about guys that like you that's going to say, well, look at me, I'm God. You're not 50 billionth one that is doing exactly what you're doing. This, I want to be God. I want to proclaim my own goodness. I want to be God. It's a nice thing to believe, I promise you. I would have loved to believe I can be God and I can forgive myself and I can. It's a nice thing to believe. But if you really go sit and think holistically about it and say, well, is everything about me? If you can be as arrogant as that, I can't be.
Everything isn't about me, Dad.
No, Estienne.
Dad, how much do I expect of you, really? Do I expect you to praise and worship me ceaselessly?
I don't follow your train of thought here now, but
Your God does. So your view of God is flawed in my point of view. God to me is infinity, all encompassing. And all I'm doing is identifying with that infinity. I'm not trying to raise myself up above anyone else or put myself down below anybody else. All I'm saying is that we are all the same thing.
so what do you think about classes? Do you think there is classes? Do you think that's right or wrong?
I think classes
This
are
is,
one of the biggest issues we face as humanity, actually. We've
Yeah.
never had a race problem, we've had a class problem,
Yeah, there is only one race.
a human race.
It's a human race.
Exactly.
So who made an issue about the tone or color of your skin? People,
Hmm.
not Christianity.
Yeah, and the slaves that were sold by their own people
Yeah.
because of class.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, not because
So-
of color.
Yeah. So slavery, we're still slaves. We're slaves to sin. The mere fact that I have to get up at 4 tomorrow to leave at 4:30 to go to work means I'm a slave. Now I can say, stuff this, I'm not going to be a slave. But who's going to put food on the table now?
Dad, if you've made that decision before, you wouldn't be a slave anymore.
What decision? To not work?
To not be a slave.
No, to not work.
To not be a slave.
Okay, so how do I not be a slave?
Dad,
Slavery is a term and a word that became demonized. The word. But what are you really? What is the true meaning of being a slave? Is someone that is submissive to somebody else.
yes.
So okay, yes. So now I need to go to work tomorrow.
Mm.
So I have to submit under the authority of who I report to and for who I work.
We're now reaching some ground level, Dad.
Yes.
Because this whole
So-
the reason you came into the stream today is because I was lying. And one of the things I said is I don't see you showing up every day for your dreams. If you feel like a slave, having to wake up tomorrow morning at 4 a.m. to go and work a job, you could have, up to this point, made a difference where
I
you
don't feel
don't
like a
have
slave.
to.
I never said I feel like a slave. Is
Okay, that you're not
I'm just-
listening. You're interrupting me before I even get to make my
Yeah.
point. If it's a problem to you to work for someone else, you can. You have enough freedom in this world to not do that.
Okay, so what do I do then?
Create your own business.
Okay, I have.
Why are you still
got,
working?
We've got a mind up in Zim.
Okay, so then again,
But guess what? I have to go there, and I have to go manage it,
mhm,
and I have to go work there.
yeah,
So
you're not a slave,
slave again.
to anyone else other than yourself. Then
okay,
at least.
okay. Then I won't go there again. Is it gonna continue?
It can actually, yeah.
No, it can't.
Yes, it can.
No, it cannot, Estienne.
How long ago were you in Zimbabwe, Dad?
6 weeks ago.
And nothing has happened since.
No, it's gonna continue.
Oh, so it has.
Yeah, but there's
So,
nothing more that's
okay.
being developed, Estienne. There's nothing more being developed. So if we want to grow it, I need to go.
Yeah.
So if I choose not to go, is it going to grow then?
Of course it's not, Dad.
Okay.
But it's you showing
then-
up for
no.
yourself.
Estienne, like I said, the word slave is being demonized. But I have to submit and say, well, I need to go. I need to adhere to the authorities there because you cannot just mine it wherever you want. So I have to submit to the authorities. I have to submit to Emma. I have to submit to the government. I have to submit to the police in the area. I have to submit to a lot of guys to make the business grow. Now, this is what I'm saying. It is just a form of slavery. Is it a bad thing? No, it's not. That's work. That is creating something, and that's driving your dreams, and that's driving your ambition. And it's all these things. But that is slavery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how is that okay with you, Dad?
How's it okay with me?
Mm.
Because I don't see slavery, and I'm not being disrespectful for the people that's been in real slavery. I'm not being. But the true sense of being a slave, if you go look in the biblical sense, the slaves they were talking about there is actually somebody owing somebody something. So you will come to me and say, well, borrow me $10,000 to do something. And then I say, okay, I'm borrowing you this, but for that, you have to work my field. And you say, that's fine, give me the money. That was termed as being a slave then, because you owed me. That was what slavery was all about. Then it just got to a point where people made a mess out of it. And they said, oh, okay, now I can do with slaves whatever I want. But the true sense of slavery wasn't, and even in the Old Testament, they've messed it up. That's why Moses had to say to him, hey, hang on, guys. You cannot treat a slave the way you want to treat a slave. It's not right. Tune back.
Mm-hmm.
And then ultimately, look what Jesus said. So don't even look at what Moses said. Moses brought in laws to say, well, you can beat a slave, just don't kill him. I mean, that's what they did. So Moses said, hey, hang on, guys, you cannot carry on like this. You cannot. It's not nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying as well, Dad.
Yeah.
I'm saying the exact same thing. You cannot carry on like this.
Yes. But you're not going to change all the things that you think you will be able to change, Estienne.
Well, Dad,
certain things
I cannot expect to try and change anything if I don't believe I can. That's the difference between me and your worldview. You believe things are set the way they are.
No, I'm not. There's certain things that is set.
Okay. I believe.
Let's just start with gravity.
And
That's
starting
set.
with me can change everything.
No, you can't change gravity. No, everything is everything. There is certain things that's going to be bound by certain laws.
Mm-hmm.
And gravity is one of them.
Okay. Well, if
the
I wanted to, Dad,
the way human nature
to extremes,
works,
I can go and build a spacefaring civilization. No more gravity either.
Do you really think that if you take something away from Earth's gravity, that gravity doesn't exist anymore?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay, so what do you say?
What I'm saying is everything changes.
Yeah.
Everything.
But the laws,
including gravity.
The laws of nature will still remain.
Gravity changes as well, Dad. The laws of nature
put the laws
fluctuates, in fact. Did you know that? The laws of nature changes.
It's theory that the speed of light has changed over time. It's all theory. Yeah? Can't prove it. They've been trying to prove this now for so many years.
Yeah,
they can't prove it.
They're gonna.
Yeah. You can believe truth and accept it, or you can keep on chasing a lie for hundreds of years and hope that you will find it one day.
This topic came from the point that I believe, without a shadow of a doubt in my mind, that if I show up every single day for the rest of my life, the way I leave this world will be exponentially better than how I found it. And if I don't show up in that way, it won't change that way. And I'm going to prove that with my life, Dad. This is day 752. Day 75,000. I'm going to be 270 years old. We're going to have this conversation again.
You're not going to reach that age, Estienne.
We'll see. We'll see, Dad.
Yeah, we will.
You see, that's the type of things I show up for, Dad. Instead of believing in my limitation like you do, I believe in abundance and infinity.
I have to. No. You see, I'm choosing differently. I'm choosing to say, well, there's this book. Now, whether you want to believe it's a fictional book that's been written by man,
which it has.
Yeah, it's been written, but it's not been inspired by man. If you look at how the whole Bible that's been written over a couple of hundred of years has come together to one story, of how as humans messed up and how God sorted it out. And that word, I've actually just listened to a sermon that was done in 16. They recorded it. Oh, when could they have made the first? I will actually show you that. If you listen to that, it sounds like somebody doing a sermon today. The same things that they were battling with hundreds of years ago. It's the same things we're battling with now.
Exactly.
Yes. Why? Because we've got a flawed human nature. We are not so good as what we think we are. And ultimately, if you get to a point where you say, listen here, I am not that great. I make mistakes. I mess up. I need a savior. If you get to that point where you realize that
I hope I never do that. That sounds like the biggest loss I could ever experience in my life.
it is sad for anybody to think that they've got their life so sorted out. Listen, but the beauty of this whole thing is the prodigal son. You know, that prodigal son, when he left his father, he said, I don't want to listen to my father, and I never will submit under his authority, and all this, that, and the next thing. Huh? And his father said to him, okay, you can go, but I'll wait for you. That's what God does. Huh? So even though, no, he does.
He'll wait for you until you die, and then he'll never see you again.
If you not made a decision like that guy sitting in the pigsty and say, hey, I'm actually foolish here. Let me return. If you don't get to that point, Estienne, then unfortunately it's your choice.
Isn't hell also in this analogy like the pigsty?
No. The pigsty is life. Is being in such a mess that you say, well, I need to make a change. But I've been trying to make a change now for so many years, but I've tried to make that change on my own. And I've been failing for so long.
Whose fault is it then?
If you
God's.
No, how can it be God's?
Or is it your own fault?
It's your own fault.
Okay.
So if you say, I want to try, I'm going to try a whole series of ideas, as long as it's just not God, I'm going to try and fix this myself. How's that God's fault then? If you say, I don't want to follow your rules, I don't want to follow your laws, I want to do it myself, then it's going to say to you, try it. Do it yourself. And I have to give you the free choice because I say I love. I can't force it on you. And the best analogy of that is try to force a girl to love you. You cannot. Even if you tie her up and say, listen here, man, I'm going to tie you up against this wall, and I'll try all the tactics. I'll start starving you, then I'll start beating you, but you will love me at the end of the day. She will never love you. Because it has to come free.
Mm-hmm.
For love to exist, it must come free. It must come as a choice.
Okay, but that again,
Mm-hmm.
the torture already happens to us, apparently.
What torture already happens to us?
Like, unless we accept God as our Savior,
Mm-hmm.
unless we love Him, we get damned to eternity. So in this analogy of forcing a girl to love you,
Yeah.
if I tell a girl, you have to love me
Mm-hmm.
because I'm your Savior, and if you don't love me, I'm going to lock you in a box, light that box on fire, and I'm also going to make you immortal so you can burn in that box of fire forever. Then you're forcing her to love you, Dad.
No, it's not the same thing.
It's the exact same thing.
No, it is not. That's actually a very silly analogy that you just drew.
You made the analogy, Dad.
No, I didn't.
Forcing a girl to love you.
Yeah. Okay. That's why I said love must come free.
Mm.
So what you say to this girl is, listen, if you don't choose me, this is a girl now. We're talking about God saying, if you choose me, you'll have eternal life.
Mm.
If you don't want to be in my presence,
you'll have eternal suffering.
Okay, what is eternal suffering? It's the absence of God.
Mm.
Now, if there's absence of love, absence of light, absence of all goodness, absence of everything that's good, if that's not there, that's going to be suffering, Estienne. But if you don't want to be in God's presence, He's not going to force you into His presence. He is too loving for that. He's not going to force you. He's not going to put the gun against your head.
I can say the same thing about this stream, right? I don't force any of the friends to be here. I don't expect them to be here.
Yeah.
But when they're here, I share love with them
That's beautiful.
unconditionally, right? So in the same analogy, Dad,
No, it's not
if
unconditional, Dad.
listen, of course
No,
it's
it's not.
unconditional. I
No,
don't. Like,
that is,
they don't
that,
have to meet some sort of condition for me to
of
love them.
course they do.
No, they don't.
They have to tune in.
Okay.
That's a
On
condition.
that, so for instance, I don't know if Isaac is here right now. Let's see. So Isaac is not here right now. In this moment, I can think Isaac is a wife. He married while he was tuning into my streams. He got a dog in the meanwhile as well. He's been working a job he hates so that his wife can finish studying. All of those things. No condition needed to be met for me to love Isaac in this moment. He didn't even have to tune in. Because in my thought, and I am a limited human being, God thinks about all of us loving me, Dad, at the same
Yeah,
time.
that it does.
Yeah. No
So much.
conditions need to be met.
That's
No
what-
conditions need to be met.
listen, yeah,
And then
I
on
agree.
that level, Dad, I don't
You can't-
force
you
any of
can't-
our friends into the space to be here
but
with
you
me.
can't, like I said to
And
you,
I also
said
don't
to you,
damn them if they're away.
You can't live out your worldview. Esther.
I'm living out my
No,
worldview.
no, you can't. Then we should have seen it in the family that you're living out this worldview.
I am, Dad.
You're doing pretty well, but you're not living this life, Estienne, that is talking about what you're saying all the time. You're not. And you know that as well. If you want to be honest enough to say, listen, hey, I get there most of the time, but I'm failing. Then you're honest at least with yourself.
Well, Dad, on that level, I get there a lot more than I've ever seen Christians get there.
That's what you think, Estienne.
That's what I see.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Because who is the ones you're measuring against?
You.
No, exactly. So why do you see me as this perfect Christian?
Because you're my father.
Yeah, but I'm not a perfect Christian, Estienne.
Why not?
Yeah, that's something I have to deal with.
And I ask myself that every day, Dad. If you actually believed, it would be easy.
But it is
to show up every day.
Show up for what?
Show up for what you believe in.
I do. What do I not show up for what I believe in? I've made my change a good couple of years ago, Estienne, and I'm showing up every day for what I believe in every moment. So where do I not show up?
Yeah, Dad. Like this is not a conversation that's going to make either of us feel any better about ourselves. So it's not a conversation I'm going to entertain. I am living out my worldview.
No, we spoke about it the other day, Estienne. You can't live out your worldview.
My
You
worldview
can't live out your worldview.
is one of
say-
unity. I'm living it, Dad.
No, you can't live out your worldview to say that there's going to be no judgment. Love is unconditional. Love is not jealous. Love is because you're creating another love that has characters that's not love.
In
You
your
can't-
worldview.
No. The true essence of love. I say to you, go marry somebody that you say, okay, now there's a bond
It's
between
human
us.
love, Dad. We are literally part and parcel to God. There's no separation. It's like having a heart beating in your chest, right? And then feeling jealous that your heart is pushing up against your lungs.
Okay, I don't know where you're getting to.
The point I'm trying to make, that is the jealousy in love you're talking about is human, not divine.
That's what you think is. And love can't exist with certain characteristics that's building up love. Love is kind. Love is gentle. Love is a good couple of things. Yeah? And go read 1 Corinthians 13.
I did. I sent to
Read
you.
what it is. Go read all those things, and then you'll realize I can't take out any one of these things because all of that is the truth. And if you take out, and in your worldview, you must actually take out about 3 or 4 of them. But if you can really listen to that, you will realize, oh, okay, there rings some truth to this. There rings some truth to this.
I said that to you in the text as well, that all of those things I believe are true.
Yeah.
But they
the problem
are
is do you follow them?
paradoxical to the things you believe in, Dad.
No, it's not.
Well, this God, they didn't add love is jealous in that piece of text. Why not?
Not in the essence, not in the word jealous. But go look.
Dad, love is not jealous. Love is unconditional. True love
Let's actually read it.
is, yeah, like Papa Sapsafoni said. I saw my Samsung.
Let me go get it. Then we can read it.
Papa sa Mike son.
Oh, here it is.
Then we can read the definition of love according to the Bible. I like it even. I agree. Papa gaan ons chat opmaak actually. Oh. 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 Ooh. I'm so sorry that I spaced Rattler and Joe Clip. So nice seeing your name. Man, I wish I was tripping right now. This is so raw. I feel like I'm tripping out right now. Proud of both of them. I was thinking the same thing, Tiger. I want to dance. You friends are so loving. This is one of the most beautiful things I've witnessed in a long time. A proper conversation. I love watching God argue with God's self.
You see, that's silly.
It's so mooi.
No, that's silly.
It's so beautiful. I love that.
That's a foolish God.
That's literally who we are.
No,
That's who we are.
That's foolishness.
God arguing with itself.
Yeah.
It's a testament to
That's
his
foolish.
faith. I love that he has a Bible like 10 steps away from him. Like less than 10 steps. One
Okay.
step on a cell phone.
Yeah. If I speak with tongues of men and angels, but have not love, that's for other growing out of the God's love for me, then I have become only an noisy gong or a clanging cymbal, just an annoying distraction. And if I have the gift of prophecy, speak a new message from God to people and understand all mysteries.
Speak a new message from God. I believe
that's
that's what I'm
prophecy.
doing every day. To speak a new message from God,
Okay,
not
okay,
to
but-
perpetuate the
but now-
messages.
But now we need to go
Mm,
look
con-
at
con-
prophecy.
continue
now.
reading.
We need to look at what prophecy is. The prophecy needs to be backed.
And it will be.
Ah,
All of my prophecies will be back that.
okay.
All of it's
Okay.
online, actually, fortunately.
And understand all mysteries and possess all knowledge. This is not something for humans. And I have sufficient faith so I can remove mountains, but I do not have love. Reaching out to others, I have nothing. I am nothing. And if I give all my possessions to feed the poor, and if I surrender my body to be burned, but do not have love, it does me no good at all.
And here it starts.
Love endures with patience
Uh,
and serenity. Love is kind. Love is thoughtful. Love is not jealous or envious.
Not jealous or envious.
Listen.
Yes.
Love does not brag or proud or arrogant.
And I'm proud and arrogant all the time.
All the time, yeah.
All the time, yeah.
So love is not that.
Okay.
It is not rude. It is not self-seeking.
Mhm.
It is not provoking. Mhm.
Yeah.
It's not overly sensitive and easily angered. Yeah, I'll take that one. I'll take that one. It does not take into account a wrong endured. It does not rejoice at injustice, but rejoices with truth.
Truth. Yes.
When right truth prevails. Love bears all things regardless of what comes. Believe all things. Look for the best in each one. Hope all things. Remaining steadfast during difficult times. Endures all things without weakening. Love never fails, never fades nor ends.
Never,
Okay.
Dad.
Ah.
Even in
Then
hell.
it goes into prophecies.
Even in hell.
Okay, but now, if you've taken love, if you've chosen not to love,
You cannot. It's impossible. Love
Yeah.
endures all, Dad.
yeah,
And I can be, arrogant. I can be
But
boastful.
then it says it's not love.
Okay, Dad? Those parts of me aren't loving. I completely agree with that.
Okay, so now can you believe now that if you say there's parts of you that's not loving, and you say God is love, that you can't be God?
Okay? But you can see how I'm showing up in all of those other ways as well, Dad.
No. If this is like baking a cake.
Mhm.
If you say, listen, well, I'm gonna put the flour and the milk, but all these other things that's on this list, I'm not gonna put this on. I'm gonna bake this cake. Just you think you'll get a cake?
Well, Dad,
You're not gonna get a cake.
to
You're gonna
give
get
you this recipe
a
analogy
horrible
that you're
thing.
just talking about, just before you read that piece of text, you were talking about how love needs to be jealous. Otherwise, it's not really love.
Yeah.
And then in that piece of text, it goes specifically Love is not jealous or
Or
envious.
yeah. Yeah, but okay, like I said to you, Ethan, you must read the whole context of it, you know.
Mhm.
If we say jealous, it is you can be exceptionally jealous or you can be jealous. If
No,
you look at
you
look
can
at
put
no no
50% of
no
the milk in your
no look at
recipe
no
or
no look
100%
at
of
the
milk in your
context. Look
recipe.
at the context of that jealous, you know, and because you have to bring it back to the Ten Commandments.
Mhm.
This is what this is talking about. If I'm jealous of somebody's possessions,
Mm.
to the point where I say, well, I will take it.
Mm.
No? Or envious that somebody else has got a trait that I don't have, to the point where I say, I'll kill this guy. That's taking it too far. Now, love can't be those things.
Yeah.
That I agree. I can't say, listen here, I love you, but the fact that you've got beautiful hair and nice physique and nice voice and all these beautiful things that you do have.
Thank you, Dad.
Now it makes me jealous, and I'm going to put something in your food now to let your hair fall out.
I'd be
That's
pretty
evil.
hot bald as well for some.
That's no, you would be probably, but that would be evil, and that would not be love.
Yes, Dad. But
So,
now,
so
like,
in that sense, love can't be jealous.
maybe
But let me just finish my sentence.
yes.
If somebody walks in here and now puts stuff in your food to make your hair fall out, and I see them, I'm gonna rip their arm off.
Mm.
Why? Because you're mine. You're my son. And it's a sense of love, it's a sense of all this, but I'll be jealous if somebody harms you in any way.
I don't see it as jealous. I see it as
in that,
defensive, Dad.
that's defensive as well, Easton.
It comes back to the whole aggression thing, Dad. You'll have to be aggressive. You'll have to rip that dude's arm off. So you'll do that from a place of love, not from a place of evil.
No, for sure not.
Exactly. So the point I'm trying to make is we got to this point by talking about love and how in your worldview you think I don't understand love. And one of the key points I was making is that love is not jealous. Right? And then that Bible bit you kind of brought into it said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
But one of the fundamental things you believe about your God is that it's a jealous God.
Yes.
So
In
then
what
it's not
sense-
loving.
In what sense, Estienne? Like I say to you, look at the definitions of love. Go study when God says, I'm a jealous God. Go study what he says about that. He doesn't say, listen, I'm so jealous, you know, and if I see somebody doing something, I'll somehow kill them.
No, that's exactly what he does.
It's not what he does.
If I see someone not believing in Jesus, then I'll burn them for eternity.
No. If somebody doesn't believe in the gift that I've given them,
Then I'll burn them from eternity.
no, I won't burn them.
Who's gonna burn
I'm
them?
just not going to allow them in my presence.
So that's like creating a
allow
fire.
them.
That's like creating a
If they don't wanna
massive
be in my
fire,
presence.
and then also creating the person that feeds the fire, and then also creating the person that's going to judge you, and then also creating you, and then being like, oh, it's not me. It's the devil burning you in that fire right now. It wasn't me.
No, it's you. It's you.
Okay.
You make the choice.
Unity.
But you make the choice.
There we are. I agree.
So if you
I agree
say, I
completely.
don't want to be with God, he's not going to force you to.
will not burn in
He's-
hell, Dad. I
Yes,
will
then.
not.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe in it.
Okay, so if I don't believe in gravity and I jump off that roof,
It's not the same thing.
it's the same
Dad.
thing.
Gravity is real.
Yeah.
Show me
This
hell.
is- Show you hell.
Show me hell. Show me heaven.
Yeah. No,
This
you
is
say-
real.
yeah, but
This
this
is
not
here
heaven.
now.
This is not heaven.
This is what God gave us,
Yeah, of course he gave us
so
this.
that we can do what we will with this.
Yeah.
Not so that we can
Dude.
hopefully get something else one
Yeah,
day.
you can decide what you want to do with life. To live it your way or to live it God's way. Isn't that's why he's
I'm
giving
living it God's way,
us.
Dad.
Do you?
Yes.
God's way is to accept the free
No.
gift that is given you.
But now you're bringing God's way again back to this Jesus analogy, Dad.
But Esther,
God's way
that is-
was existing
that's
before
what-
Jesus.
that's what I'm saying,
True or
you
false?
know.
True or false? Was God's way existing before Jesus?
No. Because Jesus was there right from the start.
Okay. Sure.
So it can't be before Jesus. There was nothing before Jesus.
Okay. I'm a very. There's literally biblical dates said BC
Yeah.
and AC.
When God
So
became-
literally before and after him,
Yeah.
there was still existence.
Oh, he's human form.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Did Moses
yeah.
live God's way or not?
Moses. Some of it.
Okay.
He
So
would-
there was a God's way before Jesus.
Yeah, but it's not before Jesus. Jesus was there right from the start. He's part of the Trinity, and that's why God said, "Let us." Who's the us there? Let us make humans in our image.
Us can also be duality, Wapon.
You can call it whatever you want, Esther. You can call it duality. It's just not. It's not monotheism. It's not one God.
That when you fold a circle onto itself, it becomes an infinity symbol.
Well, where do you get to with that now?
So monotheism can also encapsulate duality. Duality can encapsulate Trinity. Trinity can encapsulate everything else. There's actually a whole Chinese koan that I want to tattoo on myself. That's in a triangle that goes 1 became 2, 2 became 3, 3 became everything.
Oh well, I don't believe that. Go look at if you want to go Chinese, go look at what the Chinese believed right in the beginning. Go look at the Chinese language and see what the Chinese language that they're currently writing today, where was it built from? There's biblical truths that's captured in their language. They believed in Adam and Eve. They believed in Noah and the 7 that were saved on the boat, and they have this right from the start even in Chinese religion. And then a couple of years before Jesus, then Confucianism, Buddhism, and what was the other one?
Taoism.
Taoism came into being. It's interesting that it is so close to when Jesus lived, and don't discount the powers, the wicked powers that there is around us as well, the evil powers. Satan is real. He's as real as we sitting here, and it's a force that we as humans can't deal with on our own.
Yes, we can.
He is immensely powerful.
No, he's not.
Oh, yes, he is.
No, he's not, Dad.
He is.
Dad, Satan has, in your worldview, tempted me many times. I have never faltered.
Sure about that?
Yeah. One of the ways he tempts me is with my aggression.
And you've
murderous rage.
And you've never got angry.
How many people have I murdered, Dad?
You see, isn't that it is not? It's like you can be angry as long as you just not beat someone.
Yes.
Then you can do whatever you want.
Of course you can be angry, Dad. So Jesus was angry and he beat people.
No, he never beat people.
Hij heeft hen met stokken geslaan.
He had a whip.
Yeah, so he did beat them.
He turned around the tables.
He beat them with a whip out of anger.
Why? We're getting back to the
so
why.
Then now we're justifying again instead of acknowledging that anger is a normal human emotion that everybody feels. How you react with your anger.
You brought up that you've been tempted with anger. You never faltered. That's a lie.
No, I said I was tempted by Satan in your worldview, and I haven't faltered.
No, you think you haven't faltered.
I haven't, Dad.
Oh, well, okay.
Dad, I could have slept with so many people in my life that my wiener would fall off. Like I could have. That's one of the temptations. Okay. But I didn't because I value my future wife one day. I could have murdered so many people that I would be put in jail forever. But I didn't because I value a human life.
Have you slept with anyone before in your life?
I have slept with people in my life.
Okay, so how many is right and how many is wrong?
The good question.
So if I murder one person, am I a murderer? Or must it be 17?
Okay, Dad. So then I can pose you back that question. All of the denials of sexual partners usually came from a place of I knew in that moment. Is this going to be lust? Or is it going to be love?
Oh, great. I commend you on that, Isan. And I've said that to you as well. That's great. It's great.
Okay, Dad. So we're talking about fighting. You're talking about how powerful this devil is. This devil is I want to say this, and I know it's going to piss you off, a piece of shit in my world. A small little smudge on my nice car. Yeah. That's what the devil is to me. That's the amount of, I don't even give him the time of day.
I hear what you're saying. Like I said to you, I've challenged the devil before in my life, and I physically felt him. So I won't challenge him, the only reason why I could stand is because I knew who I was in Christ. That's why. Will I ever challenge him again the way I did that time? No, I won't. I won't do that again. Because even when Satan tempted Jesus in the
The
desert,
desert for 40 days, yeah.
Jesus never showed disrespect to Satan. Eh? But that was the character of Jesus. Jesus wasn't a disrespectful human. So, but even to Satan, he doesn't. He said to him, "But the word also says." And Satan said, "But the word says this." Then Jesus said to him, "Yeah, but the word also says this. Also says this." So he just countered him. And then after that, he said to him, "Go away from me." So, in 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 my view, uh, we have to accept that there is sometimes forces that is beyond us.
Hmm. We
And
have friends in this space that commune with spirits.
Mhm.
They invite spirits into their home.
I think it's dangerous. I think it's dangerous because if you invite something, how do you know whether it's always good?
That's the same concern I shared.
I think it's dangerous. You know. So would I do it? I won't do it.
But the point I'm trying to make that is that these energies that we invite into our lives are the energies that get to influence us. I don't invite the energy of Satan into my life. I
Yeah.
invite the energy of love,
Mhm.
the energy of light.
No, I get that. And like I said to you, I don't think all is bad, Estienne. But your view that you think you're God, and that
Everything is God.
no, but it can't be. Everything can't create everything.
Yes, it did,
No,
Dad.
no, it can't.
Is God
So,
everything?
let's go right.
Is God everything, Dad?
No, God is not everything. God is God.
Okay.
God created everything. God is not. This is not God.
So
He
is
created
God
this.
infinite?
He created. Yes, God is infinite.
So if you assume any, even in the context of God, the set of infinity, that means by definition everything. Everything that could
No,
ever exist, will ever exist, might ever exist, exists within that
don't get
infinity.
confused by creator and creation, Estienne. That's what I keep on saying to you. You're confusing creator and creation.
I'm not, Dad.
Yes, you are. If
Am I creating this moment or not?
that thing there is a VW Amarok.
Am I creating
That's
this
not
moment or
it's
not?
not the engineers. That's a car there.
Am I creating this moment or not? If I shoot myself right now, will this moment continue to be created?
No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that God essence is with me.
Yeah. There you're closer. You're closer there because we've been created in the image of God. So that's why we can create, and that's why we can do all these things, because we've been created in His image. And that's what's making it so beautiful. But to say now that because I have this image and I see that I can do a couple of these things that is God-like characteristics, now I'm God. No, that's taking it one step too far.
Dad, it's taking it to the step where we actually start paying attention. Because right now, in this worldview, and even in the Christian religion, it's okay for God to give the order to go and massacre, including the children, another population.
Canaanites, yeah.
Yeah, that's in the Bible.
Which for 400 years,
yeah.
for 400 years He gave them time to repent.
Yeah,
These guys had ceremonies where they sacrificed their children to the god Molech,
Okay.
where they physically put their children on a hot piece of copper, and they beat drums to hear the sizzling cries of the baby. That's what these guys did.
Yeah. And instead of saving those kids from those people, God said to His men, kill the children as well.
Yeah.
Specifically. He mentioned it specifically.
Not specifically the
Yeah.
children.
Kill
He said
everyone.
everything. Yes.
Including the women and the children.
Yeah.
He stated that.
But he waited 400
That-
years.
Then he's impatient.
No,
then he's not loving again.
He is
Love,
patient.
love is patient.
He's-
400
he
years to
is so
God.
patient
400 years to
because
God is
he's
a fraction
giving-
of a second,
but
Dad.
He gave them the chance to repent and to turn from their ways.
So,
and they
the
got
point-
so wicked, Esther.
Yeah.
And everybody says, you know, and you said it as well now. Why doesn't God intervene when this and that and the next thing
Your
happens?
God, yeah.
Yeah. Why doesn't He intervene? Now He intervenes And now everybody is up in arms about it. And so, oh no, well, look at this. Now God intervened. So, what do you want? Do you
That-
want him to intervene
the
or
point
don't you
I'm
want him to
making,
intervene?
well, I believe this understanding that everything is God takes away the option to go and murder other versions of that God. To murder the men and women
No, but
who's
it's not other
also that
virgins.
God, to
No,
murder the children.
no, but it's
You
not.
that
But
I'm
how-
not asking you right now. I'm sharing from my
Yeah,
perspective
but can't you see
why
it
I
doesn't make
believe
sense?
it makes perfect
No, it
sense.
doesn't at all.
Dad, I see God in you. That's why I respect you.
Yeah, because I'm created in the image of God. So there will
Okay.
be characteristics. Doesn't make me God.
That the point I'm trying
Hopefully.
to make is if we can't see that God in each other, we can justify killing one another.
That I agree with.
Yeah.
That I agree with.
And in the Christian view, you can't see God in each other.
No, that's wrong. That's not right. We should be Christ-like. I can show you a lot of scriptures that said we should be Christ-like. We should walk in his footsteps. We should do. There's scripture upon scripture that says we should do exactly what you're saying now. Do we do it all? No, we don't. Why? Because we're flawed humans. We are not so great as what we think we are.
We believe that, and then we don't show up, Dad.
No, it's not to cop out, you know. And Paul said it as well. So what must I do now? Must I now sin more so that the grace can increase? And then he says, no, surely not. You should be in a position where you are growing in your relationship with Christ to such a point where you say, well, okay, I'm getting control over all of these things now. I'm not getting as angry as I did before. I'm not doing this, that, and all these other things.
So Dad,
So I'm choosing
we can
to follow
we can
any
we can
steps.
take that as a reflection of my life. Am I still getting as angry as I used to get?
No,
I haven't even a slither accepted Jesus as my savior, and I've still been able to
you
make
still-
all of these developments,
But you
these
see,
growth.
that's what I'm saying to you. You're stealing from God because
I'm
you're
not
still,
stealing
you're still
from
made
God.
in His image, Istan. You're still made in His image.
You can't
This
steal
is-
from God.
Of course you can.
God is everything, Dad. Am I stealing by breathing a breath of air right now?
No, you're not stealing. That's a free gift.
Oh,
But to say that we are all God because
there is
some
no
sort of-
separation.
and that's stealing from God.
How is it stealing from God, Dad? I'm asking you.
Because it doesn't make sense, isn't to say that there's not a difference between creator and created, creation. There's not. I can't see how you get to a point where you say that we all just infinite and we all were here from the beginning and we all will be here forever. It doesn't make sense at all. Because science says there was a beginning
Mhm.
where this what we see around us did not exist. Now the question is, okay, well, how did it come into existence then? And to say that we all did it as a collective,
So, Dad,
it's silly.
let me pose you this question. I believe this awareness that we all are, God, that we all are, exists outside of this dimension,
Yeah, that's true.
right? In
Yeah.
the same way, it exists outside of this dimension inside of you right now, where you're looking at a body, right? And you can see this body's face move and sounds come out because of time. So you're watching three-dimensional space and you're seeing the dimension of time forward. And yet something is unchanged, aware in this moment, existing outside of it always. And that's the infinity I talk about inside of ourselves.
It doesn't make you God.
Dad, when you say it like that, and I wish the word God wasn't so loaded. You say it like I believe that only about myself. That presence is in Pippi, that presence is in the cat, that presence is in the grass, that presence is in the tree.
No, there's life in them, but the image of God is not in them. God hasn't put these. He didn't say let's make dogs in our image. Is you need to quantify what that image is. That image is the sense to reason, to do exactly what we're doing now, is to communicate, to have a sense of justice. Where do you think justice comes from? Do you think that people just said, oh, well, okay, this that you do, that you steal from this guy, We now think this is wrong. We're going to
Doe
put up a
dan ander
justice.
wat jy jouself gedoen wil hê.
Exactly. Biblical principle.
Yeah, do
It's a
unto others
law-
what you want done unto
It's a
yourself.
law that's been printed on our hearts. So whether you believe in God or not, is you will have a moral law that's printed on your heart. Where does it come from? You cannot make that in a test tube in a lab. All these things that's printed on our hearts, you cannot prove it scientifically.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't.
Yes, you can, Dad.
Okay, how do you prove emotion?
You can prove it by thinking about the, what do you call it, domesticization? Is that the right word?
Domesticating.
Domesticating of the human species as well.
How was humans domesticated?
We only chose to procreate and let into our villages the people that actually showed up lovingly.
Sure, you think that.
I believe so, yeah.
Now why is there evil in the world?
Because we're still doing it.
So, but if we only let good in all the time, why is there evil? Then the evil should have most now dispersed.
It's dispersing.
No, it's not.
You can
No,
see it in the data, Dad.
It's
Go
not.
and look.
No, it's
Go
not.
and look at the murders. Go and look at the wars over the world. Go look at the famine. Go and look at the people dying without food. Go and look at the poverty rates. All of it trending downwards.
so?
Yes, it's proven. We have data for this, Dad.
Listen, so if you really think that evil is now subsiding and the world is becoming such a beautiful and better place,
It is.
it's not.
It
It's
is.
Unfortunately not.
I don't believe you, Dad.
Huh?
And I don't trust you in saying that.
Huh?
And I will never.
Listen,
Because I trust in humans. I don't trust
I
in this
don't put my-
story of evil.
I don't put my trust in humans.
Well, these
And
humans
me-
have shown me
no,
love
no,
beyond what I
no,
even
let
thought
me- let me
possible,
start-
Dad.
Let me start number one. I don't even trust me as a human, Estienne.
I know you don't.
Because sometimes, yeah, but I can back it. Sometimes I have thoughts that I'm thinking to myself, now why are you thinking these things now? Then I have to say to myself, hey, this is not the right way to even think or consider things. So where does my emotions and where does my thoughts and where does all these things, where do I take control over that? So do I trust myself? No, I don't trust myself. That's why every day before I make a decision, before I say something, I think, is this the best thing to say? Is this the best way to say it? Because if you just blurt out the first thing that comes in your mind, this world will be a horrible place. I can promise you that.
One of my favorite, it's a Stoic quote as well, that goes, all of us love ourselves more than anyone else, right? But you are so scared of what other people think about you that if you had to out loud say every single thought you would think, you wouldn't make it through the day.
No, you won't. I agree with that because your thought process is, even when you sleep,
It's because we
Okay.
value other people's opinions more than our own, Dad.
that's human.
It's a trust thing. We don't trust ourselves.
Well, exactly what I'm saying as well.
I know that, and I see that.
And that's but why don't we trust ourselves? Because we know we see all these traits. So and to not trust yourself is not a bad thing. It's to say, well, okay, check what you say, check how you do it, check all these things. So the trust just says to you, listen, okay, are you really, this emotion that came up just now, do you trust that it's being the right thing, or can you deal with it a little bit different? So the trust, not, if I say I don't trust myself, I don't think I'm a horrible thing and the whole time I think I'm an idiot. That's not what I'm saying. Is what I'm saying is, do I trust everything I think, everything I don't?
And I agree with that.
Yes.
I agree you're not supposed to.
No, you're not.
I believe you're supposed to listen to your mind, to your body in the same way you listen to the wind rustling leaves. Like, you're supposed to listen to it. You're supposed to experience the experience of the leaves getting rustled. But you're not supposed to trust it, to believe it. You're supposed to experience it. But I believe the thing that I should be identified with isn't my changing nature, isn't my body, isn't my thoughts. The thing I'm trusting in is my awareness. the fact of my presence. And that is unchanging. I've never been betrayed trusting in that, Dad. Every single morning I wake up, there I am.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go, there I am.
Mhm.
Every psychedelic experience, there I am.
Yeah.
Unchanging.
It's not. You cannot say it's not as unchanging. Everything changes every day.
Not awareness, Dad.
Of course.
Nope.
If you are getting more information, you will be aware in a different way.
Yeah.
So
Your awareness can be
everything keeps on
filtered,
changing.
Dad.
Mhm.
But the actual point
Okay,
from which
okay,
you
so
look,
what happens when you filter something? Does it change?
not necessarily.
Of course it does.
It changes the way you perceive it, but it
Yeah,
doesn't
I
change
say-
the thing
okay,
itself.
It change,
It doesn't change the thing itself, Dad.
but it changes.
It changes your
So you
perception.
can't say it's unchanging.
Dad, awareness is
It
unchanging.
would be a real horrible life, if nothing changes.
That everything changes
Mm.
except awareness, is what I'm saying. That's the part of myself that I trust in. My ability to be aware.
To be there, just to be there.
And you know what I do? Every single
Go.
time I forget about that, I breathe. I
Mhm.
bring that awareness back to something tangible. Oh yeah, I can consciously breathe. And in the same way we can unconsciously breathe, we can unconsciously think. And you can consciously think as well. So instead of trusting in my thoughts, trusting in my body, I choose to trust in myself, the ultimate self we all share. When you
I'm
say,
at least glad
when
you
you
said
say
earlier that you can't
myself,
trust yourself.
when you say myself, I say the same myself. We refer to the same self when we say myself. There is no separation in that.
No, man.
When you look down at your hands, the awareness
That's
that
your
sees
hands.
hands,
This is my hands.
okay, and the awareness that sees the hands, Dad,
What awareness? Your awareness is your awareness. It's your hands. Your awareness is not my awareness, Etienne.
that coming back to the whole 5-dimensional perspective, our awareness exists beyond this dimension. Literally, look at that, Dad. You can watch this dimension shift from this unchanging perspective, this awareness.
If you are aware of something, you're observing something, Etienne.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You can be aware of something without observing something, Dad. You can
Yeah.
close your eyes.
I can be aware of God's presence, and that's what I feel. So that's what I'm saying to you. If you sincerely seek the truth, God will show Himself to you. Like
He
He's done
does.
with me.
He does. Look. God as Clint, God as Joe, God as Chris R. That dog is definitely gonna hump. She's not actually that sexual. She's a girl as well. Chris and Contoons. So many versions of God, Dad.
No, that's not versions of God. That's people that's been created in the image of God.
I choose to see them as gods,
No.
Dad.
No, they're not gods. They're not gods.
I believe you are.
Ask any one of them to create.
Dad, they do.
No.
They're creating this very moment.
Create the eye.
They're creating this very
No,
moment.
create the eye.
They are.
No,
When they
they're not.
say, I am, and they state their names, I has been created.
No, I'm talking about.
I
a
know
physical eye.
you're talking about a physical
A
eye.
physical eye.
But that, you
No,
have
no,
an
if
eye
you-
inside of you that has insight.
No, I'm talking about if don't create a stream, or if you say you God, do something God-like.
I will.
Create.
I will, Dad.
Create another dog for
I'll
us.
create a world that is
No, you can't.
unfathomable, Dad.
No, you will.
I
you
will.
You will do stuff in this world,
I'll
but
create.
you can't create.
I'll create that.
No, what is created is created.
That eventually, I'm going to have access to nanotech. You know that, right? That my brain is going to be
Yeah.
connected to micro machines,
And
where as fast as I can think something, it will be created right in front of my eyes.
But it's stuff that already exists.
Okay.
So don't use the building blocks
So
of life
that
and then say I'm creating.
God
'cause
creates
you're
stuff
not.
with the building blocks of life, baby.
Yes, that's God.
Yeah.
Because He's the creator.
He creates in the same way. The fundamental elements exist, and then the I was created
Yes.
from the fundamental elements.
Which He created. Yes.
Okay, so if I create with the same fundamental elements, then I'm not doing the same thing.
You're not created. You're not creating. You're using the building blocks.
Yeah? And God did the exact same thing
and
for
you're
us.
baking a cake. So
Yeah.
you are
This
a
is
baker.
also the same building blocks that this earth is made of,
You're a
Dad.
baker, but you're not a creator.
Why aren't we made of some sort of ethereal other substance? other than was on the earth?
What do you mean now?
You're talking about how, like, I will use building blocks to create, and God created, right? But even in God's creation, he still uses the same building blocks he created to build
Yeah.
things. So if I use the same building blocks to create things, how is that not creation?
It doesn't make you a creator.
Yes, it does.
No, Estienne, if he built you must build, if you create the building blocks, yes. But if you just use something that's been created.
So if I created a virtual realm, that where I create the building blocks within that virtual realm, and then I build a world
Okay.
within that virtual, even go so far as to create sentient beings
Okay, so
that
are
are
you
convinced
using-
of their own existence, that live lives, that have children, and we're going to do that as well one day. By the way, we're going to create beings that are convinced of their own existence, that do not even exist within the physical dimension. Their whole existence
Okay, so
will
how's-
just be
how-
electrons.
How's that electrons that's been created, by the way? Okay, so now you're using a building block that God created to do something that doesn't exist. And now you're saying you've created it. You've used a building block, Estienne.
Yeah.
It's coming back to creator and created. It's coming back to being a baker and to be saying, listen, I made this flour and I made this milk and I made this sugar and I made it out of nothing.
That in order to create, there doesn't have to be nothing before there's something.
Then you're not a creator.
That there was no stream like this on the internet until I showed up to create it.
Yes, you created the space.
Yes.
But it doesn't make you a creator. It doesn't make you God. If you wanna put yourself and God in the same sphere, the same category, then you need to say, well, okay, I then should be able to do the things that God did. Then don't use all the stuff that God made, and then say, okay, now I'm God as well. Then you're not. You're just using whatever He created.
Okay. I'll do that.
Which is beautiful. Which is beautiful because God gave us that ability to create because we've been created in His image, and He is a creator.
Yeah.
So He's given us all these building blocks and say, okay, now with all this metal, go and have a look at what platinum group metals can do. And He gave a couple of guys the wisdom to say, oh, okay, you can make this with this, and you can make some jewels, but you can also make conductors, and there's a lot of things you can do with it. But they didn't create the PGMs. They're just looking at what can I do with this? What can I create from this that's been created?
Okay. And how did God not do the exact same thing, but from nothing?
He did.
Okay.
He did do it from nothing.
Okay.
Because there was nothing before that.
Now the
He
point I'm
didn't-
trying to
he
make,
didn't use
Dad,
building blocks from something else to create.
Dad, that was his building block.
What?
Nothing.
How's nothing a building block?
Exactly, Dad.
Yeah. It's not a building-
Exactly.
It's not a building block.
Well, all of this something exists within nothing.
Yeah. But
So
nothing-
without nothing, there is no something. So God needed the nothing in order to create the something. In your worldview, where I believe it is a duality as well. There is awareness, and then there is the thing that is being aware of, right? I am the awareness, and I am aware of my hand. Part and parcel. I don't want to lose this hand because it is still a part of me.
Yeah.
Even though it's not determinant with whether or not I get to be aware of it, it is still a part of me.
Listen, I don't even follow where you're going with this.
That our bodies are the same thing to God, like hands. We are like the hands of God on earth.
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
We are His instruments.
So that is that your hand?
Yes, it's my hand.
Okay. So we are God's hands.
No.
In the same way that you consider
I'm an
that hand
instrument.
a part of you, we are a part of God. That is what I believe. I don't
I'm an
not believe
instrument.
in God. I'm not trying to remove myself from the presence of God. All I'm saying is I will not, period, consider myself a sinner.
Even
Not
though-
because
even-
I
even
can
though you
sin. Dad, I can consider myself whatever because I've done it once. Or I can choose to consider myself a being of love because that is what I want to be.
Then you need to show
And that
up. then you need to show up in love every time, Estienne. Then traits like aggression and all these other bad traits shouldn't be part of you.
Well, Jesus also had aggression, so clearly
No,
he wasn't capable
he
of it.
was
So it's okay for me to
he
not be
was
capable of it as
no
well.
he was defending his father,
And
not
I'm defending my
himself.
father as well,
No, you
Dad.
don't. Who's your father?
Dad, everything is God.
No.
So I'm defending it.
So if you are getting aggressive because you're not getting it your way, whether it's over a tablet, whether it's over food, whether it's over a hundred of other things, you cannot in a logical argument compare that with Jesus getting angry because people were stealing from poor people to enrich themselves in the temple of God. And he said, listen, this stops here.
That's what's happening on the earth
No,
right now,
no,
Dad.
but you cannot compare your aggression
Of
with
course
Jesus.
I
No,
can.
you cannot,
Dad,
Estienne. It's not the
For
same
me,
thing.
our whole planet is the temple of God.
But
And people are
yeah, but
stealing from
no,
other people to enrich
okay,
themselves.
no, but then you
And then I
shouldn't
get angry about this. And then
No,
you're like,
because it's
no, you shouldn't get angry because that's not very
no,
godly
no.
of you.
To get angry for your own benefit. That's the one I'm talking about, Estienne. The fact that you want to save the world, that's beautiful. That's all beautiful. People from early ages, you always get the people to say, I want to make a difference in life.
Yeah.
I want to make a difference.
And those people
And
are the
that's
ones that make the biggest differences, Dad.
Yeah.
The ones that
And-
don't.
Yeah.
And they don't make a difference
No,
by
so-
believing that something else is going to come and save them. They make a difference by making a difference.
All the universities, all the hospitals, all these things that we see in life now came from the Christian faith, Estienne. Go, if you don't believe me, go look it up. That's where the basis of goodness starts.
Materialism, yeah, Dad.
That's where it came from, Estienne. So it's good to try and trash Christianity now, but it's people that crushes Christianity. You know, even if you ask me, sometimes I feel uncomfortable to say I'm a Christian, because there's so many Christians out there that's making Christianity a watered down club.
Yeah.
If you look at what Jesus said and what true Christianity is about, and the Christian said the other day, you know, C.S. Lewis is one of his favorite writers. Go read Mere Christianity.
Mere?
Mere Christianity.
From C.S. Lewis.
From C.S. Lewis. I mean, like I said, that's Christian's one of his favorites. You heard him saying that. But read Mere Christianity. As a matter of fact, I haven't even read it yet. I'm going to read it as well. It's just a book that everybody says. Well, everybody, a lot of guys says. If you don't understand these things, there's a way to understand them better. So I'm going to start reading it.
Dad,
Mere Christianity.
I don't not believe in Christianity because I don't understand it. I do, perfectly.
I don't think so. But
I do, Dad.
no, I don't even understand it perfectly. You know,
Dad,
I've been following this now for a long time.
When you look at humans and the type of things we keep up with and the stories we like to tell ourselves, Christianity makes perfect sense to me because it's really convenient.
How's it convenient? No,
You
it's
don't
not.
have to take responsibility.
Oh, no, you make a big mistake. It's like I just said now. Paul says in Romans, so what is this grace thing? Does it mean that now I can sin so that the grace can enhance? Then he says, no, surely not. You now not sin because you understand that this free gift that God has given you, it's living out of a place of gratitude, not living out of a place of, oh, I'm gonna go to hell if I don't. It's the gratitude. If you understand what Jesus did for you, you're living out of a place of gratitude. And because you're living in this gratitude, you now say, well, okay, I'm not going to do all these things.
Again,
But I know
that
it's against-
gratitude isn't conditional. The condition of Jesus doesn't have to be met for us to be grateful for this experience.
Yeah, no, that's a fact. I agree with that. I mean, I can be grateful for anything. I can be grateful if I rob a bank
You can
and
be grateful for evil.
I didn't get caught.
Yeah,
I can be grateful for that as well.
exactly.
Doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing.
Weirdly enough, I believe it is.
No. So
At least
robbing a bank is a good thing.
no, the gratitude I believe is a good thing.
No, even in that, it's like this jealousy thing. I think there is even gratitude. You know, if I slit somebody's throat, and I'm grateful that nobody's seen me, so I can get away. I personally don't think it's gonna be a good thing. Even that gratitude now is
So
gonna be wrong.
it's weird that you say that because I shared that a few days ago that I'm grateful to even Hitler for still the moments of love that he did show up for. You know that he spent the last days of his mom's life next to her bed holding her hand when she died? So all I'm saying is that love is true, Dad. Without condition, without anything needing to be done in order to deserve that love, love is true. I think we're gonna finish the stream. It's the longest one we've done all year. Medicine, mother, and healer of mind, body, and soul.
Thanks everyone for at least listening of us and giving us an audience. I hope some of this has rang true, and
Say stop.
I challenge you, go read Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis, and then we can do something about it.
Say stop.
Say stop.
Yeah.
Okay, zeker maar stop. You know I don't believe in these parts, so it doesn't make.
You don't have to believe in them, Dad. Just listen to what's being said. This is the card we pulled today. Card number 4. Het op zijn phone, papa. Gelukkig hoor. Net soos ek kan sien. En dan luister na wat die kaart sê, papa. Soos op hoef jy te glo daarin nie. Luister net.
Okay.
This is the card we pulled today. Chris, it was nice having you here, friend. It's called Earth Prayers. Gonna go and try and live in my own fractal for a while. I love you, Joe. Go and do that, friend. So, ek gaan nie nou vanaf vas om. Kyk dan bly net die kaart kyk. Ek gaan net so lees. Hou vas. En dan pas sien wat as hoe hy lyk terwyl ek lees. Help take keer. Earth Prayers. Stewardship. Dis even wat ons gepraat het oor. So we're here to create order as human beings. Stewardship and sustainability. Embedded in this card is a complex geometry that begins as the flower of life and then transforms into a tetrahedral pattern, forming a protective divine matrix around the planet. From the birth portal at the center of the Vesica Pisces, our home, Mother Earth, shines in beauty and grace. Many colored hands surround and reside within these patterns, symbolizing participation of all beings in stewardship and sustainability. Stewardship denotes understanding that there is spirit in everything and that everything is connected. It implies awareness that each of our actions, whether it is growing a vegetable, cutting a tree, or using natural resources, affects the whole. Even our thoughts have this power. Being stewards of the earth doesn't mean living without abundance or placing judgment on the actions of others or ourselves. It does mean living with a sense of connectedness and relationship with all beings and respect for the earth. Several indigenous tribes believe we must consider the effects of all actions and demonstrate stewardship to the 7th generation. How might your daily actions and decisions be affected as you consider their effects 7 generations into the future? As you consider this question and feel the tenderness of this time on Earth's story, realize also the power of your prayers and intentions. See and feel the earth as abundant and self-sustaining. See and feel humans treading lightly upon her land and making decisions that will defend rather than wound the earth. How can you live more fully with an attitude of stewardship?
The world is not self-sustaining.
Not yet, Dad. And it
Yeah.
is technically completely self-sustaining. The world is going to be okay without us here, and it's been okay before we were
The
here.
world is breaking down as well, because it's tend towards decay. Just by the fact that we've got sun.
Yeah,
Okay.
entropy. Thank you, Dad.
Okay.
I appreciate you
Thanks,
spending some time with me. You still have your microphone.
Yeah, you can take that.
Maybe. Vol maybe magneetjie.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
Dank je,
Thanks,
papa.
guys.
Je zit op zijn phone. Thank you for capturing a moment, Anubis. I appreciate you appreciating me and my dad, dude. I hope you both have a wonderful night. Soda, like a quiet place to be. Hopefully, this is a fruit. There is fruit close by. Capture the moment. Thank you for all of the love. Hug to you, Sanus here too. Connor, sending your love, dude. Better and better each day, girl. How about you? How's the winter treating you? Thank you, friends, for showing up for love today. I'm happy that we could have a conversation with Dad. I'm so sorry that I missed the Sangha. I felt that this was clearly supposed to be happening or something. Melty, I hope you get a chance to go through the comments during your talk. I was actually planning on doing that, Maxine. I was like already planning. Thank you. Yeah. A lot of love was shared. Sorry for not being able to be as present as I would like to be with you, friends. Thank you for spending some time thinking about all of these things with me, having this conversation. I'm happy that my dad joined us. I feel like a lot of the things we talk about in the stream probably came up, right? You see what I mean, right? We love each other deeply and we respect each other and we try to talk about these things, but the way we see the world is different. It is different, and that's okay, I guess. Mel, love you so much. Love you, Esteban. Love you, friends, so very dearly. Today's stream was fire. Longest stream I think we've ever done. Period. This is the longest stream. I'll tell my dad that is, that you send love as well. Thank you, friends. You are a GMLT. I am you, Rambler. I do believe this. I am you, dude. That everything you saw today is you seeing yourself ultimately. I know that that's not necessarily easy to prove, but I do believe we're not separate. Thank you for waiting all the way into the darkness with me. Man, sounds like I missed quite the stream. Oh yeah, Lynn. I mean, 3 hours and 31 minutes. A part of me wants to wait until it's 3 hours and 33 minutes right now, just to be coy. Dad, thanks for joining. Thank you, Sena. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me, for being here for these moments. Like we dove deep. Sam saying, Lynn. It's so worth a rewatch. We dove deep. Vomit Slag, love you. Thank you for joining us again. I saw Chris, a Chris here today. Weirdly enough, my dad's name is also Chris. Melt Dad, so much respect to you, sir. I should read them all the comments your friends sent. Even Maeve. Or wait a second. Maeve Beck? Maeve Beck is a friend of her own. Almost said hi to Mariah as you, Maeve. Love you. Chris is tech tight. What? How cool. Thank you for letting me know. Thank you. Thank you. I don't want to say bye. I'm gonna wait 30 more seconds. Then it's gonna be 33. Then it's gonna be 3:33. It's now 33 again. One more minute. Then it's gonna be 3:33. Have the most beautifulest day, everyone. I love you all so very, very enormously, massively, dearly. Melt and all of you absolutely astonishingly gorgeous friends. Thank you for being your beautiful selves with me, for sharing in these moments, for listening, for trusting that I have the best in mind for all of you friends. Where are you live? In South Africa, friend. I stream on YouTube as well every day. I stream every day, but same username, Meltmore. You'll be able to find me. Melty, you are a patient man. Yeah. Thank you, Duck Dad. I honestly believe, dude, my life is like literally perfectly orchestrated to teach me uber patience. So much patience, oh, so much patience. Patience to the to the extreme. Terpillis. Can't tell you how nice it is to see you, beloved friend. We've missed you dearly, dude. I do trust you, Melty. You've shown love in ways I never experienced before. I love you. I'll see you again soon. Goodbye, everyone.